In fact, celebrating America often goes hand in hand with celebrating its food. Watch this actual commercial running right now.
What's more American than a cheeseburger? This cheeseburger, loaded with a hot dog and potato chips. In the hands of all-American model Samantha Hoops. In a hot tub. In a pickup truck, driven by an American bull rider. On an aircraft carrier. Under the gaze of Lady Liberty. As she admires the most American thick burger. New at Carl's Jr. and Hardee's.
Wow. A cheeseburger with hot dog and potato chips. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the new Confederate flag. She's majestic.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rolling 20s. We are the show that says the only thing you listen to less than this show is the new Fantastic Four movie. I am Jeremy.
Ouch. Jesse.
And V.
Remember, you can subscribe to this show and several others in the MSP library at missionstarpodcast.com. You can like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on iTunes and on Stitcher. Follow us on Twitter at the Rolling 20s. You can send us any fan mail, suggestions for the show, or hate mail at mspfreight@yahoo.com. The music you heard at the beginning of the show is by Machine Supremacy. You can find most of their discography for free download at machinesupremacy.com, as well as their latest couple of albums on amazon.com. The clip you heard was Last Week Tonight with John Oliver regarding food waste. You can find more of their videos on their channel on youtube.com titled Last Week Tonight, or you can watch them weekly at 11 o'clock, I believe it is, on HBO. How are you guys doing?
Oh, I slowly discovered like going to Comic-Con, for 4 days is like signing a contract with the devil.
What?
What do you mean? You actually got something out of that. And when you sign a contract with the devil, he gets it all.
Yeah, but I thought it was a sign of my soul, and he could fight Blizzard for that.
I just don't understand what you're talking about, because technically you may have signed on the dotted line to get in, but you walked out with a ton more than you left.
Yeah, but my Xbox turned into a brick. We lost internet for 2 weeks. Plumbing got plugged up. My pair of shoes got destroyed on me, so...
That's not because of Comic-Con. That's because you live in Merced.
Wait, how did your shoes get destroyed? Is this the story I want to know?
No, just natural wear and tear. It was its time.
I was going to say, it started with a hooker named Cassandra. So, V, how about you? Was your week hell-free, apparently?
Yeah, mostly hell-free. I've getting a schedule change next week. I like. That's not particularly exciting for anyone out there, I guess, but I thought it was pretty great.
I had an extended visit with the entire family this week, which was really interesting, and spent some time doing some nonsense. Went out for a little bit. Spent some time in Ventura County. Got an invite to Strategicon during Labor Day weekend. It's supposed to be an all table-based and board game convention. It sounds like an interesting thing. They invited me out for a day, so I may go check it out. And didn't check out any new movies. I've been listening to the fallout regarding Fantastic Four, and yeah, we will have to get into that a little bit. But the topic of the week is actually the first... I'm sorry?
Go on.
Okay. The topic of the week is the first 4 issues of DC's Convergence. We've been talking for a while about getting to that, but, things kept getting in the way. Technical issues, personal issues, Comic-Con, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we will finally get into at least the first half of that series. Before we actually get into the news, I don't have any Kickstarters, but there is something I wanted to talk about shortly, and that is the passing of somebody who meant a lot in the early years of my lifetime, and that's Roddy Piper. From
damn.
From the world of professional wrestling. He died at the relatively young age of, I think, 61.
61? I thought it was younger than that.
No, 61. He had a heart attack in his sleep.
At least he went quietly.
Yeah, he actually lived out here in Hollywood. I didn't know he lived that close. Most people that had anything to say that regardless of his boisterous and over-the-top Roddy Piper character, the man was relatively quiet, very warm, very friendly in real life. You know, even Nathan Barnett had nice things to say about a short thing they taped together for Funny or Die. He said he'll always remember how nice he was when he slammed his head into a car door. There was a memorial video that played on last week's Monday Night Raw. Are you guys curious about that?
Not sure.
Like I said, I know it's not necessarily comic book related, but the guy was in a major sci-fi, at least cult film called They Live.
You know, didn't he
Oh, really?
coin
Which
the
one?
phrase, you know,
Yeah,
kicking ass
he
and chew bubblegum?
yeah, he had an infamous scene where he was wearing these sunglasses that allowed him to see aliens hidden amongst humans, and they caused you to go slightly psychotic. So after he stole a shotgun, he stumbled into a bank wearing these things, turned around, half the place had aliens, and then he just stood there like he was supposed to be and said, "I am here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I am all out of bubblegum."
That line.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I sent the video. So sometimes when wrestlers die, when very notable ones do, they tend to gather up everybody on the stage on Monday Night Raw for a 10-bell salute. And Roddy Piper may not have won any truly major accolades outside the Hall of Fame, but he was a long-standing trainer and just one of those larger-than-life characters.
Mm-hmm.
Rowdy Roddy Piper, would you please rise as we toll the bell 10 times?
It's been a hard year for wrestling, actually. There's been a lot of major people that have died suddenly.
Who else has died?
In the last few months, I mean, Dusty Rhodes died.
Oh, that's right. I remember talking about that.
Yeah, the Ultimate Warrior died just after last year's WrestleMania. I mean, I think 3 days after.
So all those people standing there are wrestlers?
They're current wrestlers, yeah. In a couple suits.
Sorry.
Wasn't his theme song some bagpipe song music?
Yeah, that's his theme playing in the background.
Damn.
Wait, is he Scottish?
No.
Then why bagpipe?
His genealogy is Scottish, but he was born in the U.S.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Okay.
One of the signature things he had into the ring, he went into the ring with a kilt on.
Yeah. Thank goodness he had trunks on underneath.
Oh, yeah.
You never know. That crooked smile. It's just kind of amazing that this happened. I heard he had cancer for a while and he battled back and managed to defeat it, but he still had a heart attack in his sleep.
I wonder
That's
drugs maybe? Like not illegal ones, like medications, I mean.
Possibly, and unfortunately he was very big in the 80s, and, you know, you remember the 80s. I mean, cocaine was the breakfast cereal choice of most celebrities. The music is very poignant. You know, whatever you think of professional wrestling on hold, their media people are very smart.
You do not go rock at a man who's got a machine gun!
He knew how to make people mad.
Who am I calling fatso? Take your choice!
Through entertainment, he made him mad.
We know how intelligent you are! Oh, yeah? You do.
How low can you go?
I came on the show. How long can I go?
You have some very interesting personal moments.
It takes guts to walk down Hollywood and by looking like this. Yo, Mr. Gotti, give me that smoke, would ya? Yeah! Welcome to Piper's Pit. Thank you very much for having me. I kind of like you.
Rowdy Roddy Piper. Energy.
I was ready. Those were just
so much passion, so much heart. Talent beyond belief.
Roddy Piper and Stone Cold Steve were like kind of the Oh, what's the word I'm looking for?
They're flip sides of the same coin. They're both a lovable psycho.
Yeah.
I have come here
There it is.
to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
They had to put that in there.
Yeah.
Of course.
Look at camera 3 and you tell him what you got to do. I'll give him a message, baby.
Wow. I am seeing wrestlers in this that I have not seen in years, decades even.
It's almost amazing, to think of all these people that loved him so much and all this stuff you see of the weird things he's done, and to my knowledge, he's never been a heavyweight champion.
Really?
I think he...
Highest he ever climbed, as far as I knew, was Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, I think he's just a guy that enjoyed the show.
He always seemed to be. So, the life and times of Roddy Piper.
It seemed like a interesting fella.
Yeah, I always enjoyed his work, even when I was a kid and I was told I was supposed to hate this man.
Yeah.
But hopefully some people can find a little bit of happiness out there. We'll move into the video game news, and the biggest news that's come out so far this week as far as video games is that some professional gamers have taken home a pot of $6.6 million. The United States team of evil geniuses won Dota 2's biggest tournament last night.
Wait, what?
The U.S. team, and their team name is Evil Geniuses, won the international championship for Dota 2. And
Cool.
Their championship came with a $6.6 million pot. It was hosted by Valve. Oh, you don't
Damn.
understand. It was hosted by Valve at the Key Arena Center in Seattle, Washington. The total prize pool spread among the winners in the various tiers of rankings was $18 million.
Damn.
Yep.
And they say esports not a real sport?
It isn't. It's a competition. I will grant you
Yes.
that, but it's not a
Oh,
sport.
yeah.
Agreed.
All 5 players who play for Evil Geniuses are now millionaires. Their screen names are Fear, PPD, Aoi, Sumali, and Universe.
Damn.
And the Sumali may be a bit of an aberration from there. He's a 16-year-old Pakistani guy. He sold his bike just so he could play more Dota. And now he's a 16-year-old esports millionaire.
Well, he made the right choice in that sale.
Hey, if you can do it, power to you.
Could they tax him, actually?
That's a good question. I don't know if it's one of those things where it's like a lottery. Here's your $1 million. We'll take our $400,000. Have a great day. I don't know how that works. Technically, he might be an independent contractor, so he may have to keep track of his own damn taxes. Mighty Number 9. There's a problem. The infamous Kickstarter game by Keiji Inafune, it has been delayed.
Oh, yeah. I heard about this.
What for?
Well, the original game release date was supposed to be September 15th. That's just around the corner. On Amazon and GameStop, all of a sudden their websites say that the game's going to be released sometime in 2016. The producer of the game, Nick Yu, assured one of their forum moderators that the delay just wasn't true. Okay? And during this time, the people behind Mighty Number 9 were trying to salvage the Red Ash Kickstarter, which just tanked horribly. Okay, but the company behind the whole game, Concept, kept pushing forward, saying that the 2016 delay wasn't true. And then on Wednesday, August 5th, all of a sudden Concept officially announced that, the game is delayed to 2016. So there's a lot of people who are back in the game that are pissed. They're not keeping up with the timeline of release that they originally had. However, it's one of those things to be disappointed in, the fact that the game's not coming out on time. But seriously, there are major studios out there who have their own money that run into delays like this.
I would be more surprised for things to stay on target. And I would be suspicious that they're, ignoring things, you know?
Yeah,
You know,
but
I'd
the
rather-
problem... go ahead, finish your thought.
I would rather have the game complete than brought in early, and incomplete.
That is all well and good, and I appreciate the fact that there's a delay and that there's problems. But the other thing that's made this a complete issue is the fact that apparently Concept did lie about their knowledge of a delay. They kept saying that there isn't going to be a delay, it's a mistake, Amazon relisted it for reasons we don't know. And then, just a few days ago, all of a sudden they said, yes, okay, it's been delayed. Now, under most circumstances, that's not something where anybody has much of a say, at least on the retail side of things. And by that I mean us as consumers. However, when a game like Mighty No. 9 was backed by people who pre-bought into it, and then you lie to them about the issues, that's more serious. You already have money in hand for a promised product.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's going to be a problem, you need to be upfront about it. This isn't the same as people pre-ordering it who've put like $2, $3 down or, have a promissory note for when the game comes in. These are people who all paid up front, literally. And for them to just kind of lie about it, I do feel worse about this situation in general.
I agree.
Concept should have been more upfront. But in news that's going to make some esports people happy, Super Smash Bros. Has finally been patched, and several major exploits have been removed from it.
What kind of exploits?
Do you remember the Pac-Man trampoline trick we went through?
Yep.
That's been removed.
Removed? Damn.
Yep. You can still do the Pac-Man trampoline, but the way it drops people through the floor has now been removed entirely. Pikachu's ability to pull off an infinite thunder wave has been removed. Marth's normal attack. Yep. Marth's normal attacks no longer take so long to recover from, and the Wii Fit trainer now has more punch across a variety of her moves. So,
cool.
And it's nice to know they're finally evening the playing field a bit. Pac-Man can no longer just drop you through the floor. That was a terrible exploit.
That was
yeah.
I'm surprised it didn't get found out sooner, honestly.
It was found out a while ago, but they took their sweet time about fixing the damn thing. Koei Tecmo has announced that they're releasing an Attack on Titan game.
Okay.
There's only a brief video about it, and it's primarily text. The only thing we know about it is that it's going to have a 2016 release. No words on what systems or what availability there will be in Western countries. That's one of those things specifically for Attack on Titan fans. I can let that go.
Mm-hmm.
Blizzard has announced a new World of Warcraft Legion.
Legion?
Yep. In the next expansion for World of Warcraft, they're titling it the Burning Legion. They're titling it Legion. It's in regards to the Burning Legion. They're going to raise the level cap to 110 and add a new hero class known as the Demon Hunter.
Okay. So
is what?
It sounds like a lot like a paladin?
No.
I don't know much about it. I do know that the reveal happened at Gamescom in Germany. We talked a little bit about them last year, that huge German games convention. There is a video that has to do with expansion features. Curious? No?
No, I bowed out of that a long time ago.
Never even played WoW.
All right. Well, let's see. Before the new expansion launches, Blizzard says players will have to face hordes of demons in a zone called the Tomb of Sargeras. Daralon will be back as the main player city hub. And Blizzard is letting players go to the Emerald Nightmare, which is a corrupted section of the game's Emerald Dream.
Oh, damn.
There's also going to be a new area introduced called the Broken Isles. Alaria and Turalon are coming back too. New artifacts in the expansion pack include the Ashbringer and the Doom Hammer.
Oh, fun.
Is the Ashbringer a chainsaw you can put in place of your left hand?
No, it was a Holy Paladin sword.
Okay, there was a joke in there, but never mind.
Yeah.
Blizzard is also offering class-specific order halls and followers, a level 100 character boost, and an overhauled PvP progression system.
Level 100?
In other words, people who are coming back to the game can get their levels boosted instantly to 100 and then grind the last 10.
But
which
why would they boost it that close to the end? Is it that hard to get from 100 to 110?
It's just time consuming. They just want people to be at 100 so they can begin the content at the appropriate level.
Fair enough. That makes sense.
Okay. It's also been announced as far as the Blizzard game Heroes of the Storm, the StarCraft medic is going to be a playable character soon.
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, she's going to be a support hero. No kidding, the medic's not going to be a frontliner? What a jip. 2 points of damage, come on.
Dick.
She's going to be able to summon a medevac as one of her heroic moves.
Ooh, damn.
Yeah, a medevac is a flying unit in StarCraft 2. It's both a dropship to transport ground units and a healer.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
That sounds interesting. It fires missiles of cure moderate wounds. I also have a video from Gamescom of a new trailer for Final Fantasy 15.
Okay.
This is the game that's going to be released on the PS4 and Xbox One, and had that some sick videos regarding Ramuh as a summon and fighting a gigantic dino creature.
Yeah.
Yep. This is something new. I take it this is something you want to see?
Yes.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Well, I sent the video. 15 years ago, Fox made a Fantastic Four movie that didn't suck. Wow, that's prophetic.
Damn.
Fate would fall to the father and son of Lucis. Dude, it's Chris Brown. As the stars chose the sun to be their light.
Graphics in this are really pretty.
Interesting traffic. I was going to say interesting traffic cops there. This must be Detroit.
Almost a weird Final Fantasy vibe out of this.
Well, it's a Final Fantasy game, so go fig, dude.
Well, not all of them are advanced enough to have motor vehicles.
We've already seen the previous videos where they were driving cars.
I know.
Is he sleeping on armor?
Yeah, that's a little weird.
I love you, Apocalypse.
Not the Fox version.
And there's the Batmobile.
So this is
oh god, it's Thomas Wayne.
This is the beginning to Batman v Superman that doesn't suck.
Where you get to play as Batman and not the same tank.
I'm gonna name you Robin. Let's get you some scaly green underwear. Ah! Beard burn!
They're really hanging on this scene, aren't they?
Yeah, he looks despondent over something. I will be with you. Was there supposed to be a voice? Always. Interesting sword he's got there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's gonna be like the final weapon you get in the game.
The boy?
Oh. Armageddon's coming.
Actually, it looks like there's 3 beings up there. It looks like the gods are looking down.
Giant robots?
Celestials?
No, they're probably summons, and for some reason that school kind of remind me of the gardens from 8.
Oh god, it's Yoda and Anakin Skywalker. Now the sun rises, the dawn of a new king. Okay, this is perfect. This is almost perfect for a trailer, because I'm fracking perplexed, and I want this goddamn game.
It sure looks pretty, but I bet that those graphics are not the gameplay graphics.
You'd be surprised. The Arkham Knight graphics are pretty damn good. Did I just hear a phone?
I think it was, yeah.
I did not.
And so the story begins. Okay, I'm in. I'm totally into this at this point. I have another video, except this one is of a completely different caliber. I almost wish Steve was here to go through this. There's a new video that was released of Star Wars Battlefront by Electronic Arts. This one has to do with Fighter Squadron mode. Up to 20 players can pilot X-Wings, TIE Fighters, A-Wings, the Millennium Falcon, and Slave One.
Slave One?
Boba
Boba
Fett.
Fett.
Oh.
This one I'm fracking curious about. And I just sent it for everybody's edification. Ooh, big word. May contain content inappropriate for children. Star Wars, inappropriate for children, you say. We've only had movies where they've, dismembered a man and then set him on fire.
Yeah, but all very PG-esque.
There's a PG-esque way to do that? Sounds like Quentin Tarantino bedtime stories.
Find the target and take it out.
Okay, Red Squadron. Stay in attack formation.
Wow. This is the environment you're playing against people?
We have eyes on the Imperial transport.
Dude, screw the ground game. Give me this.
Yes. Give us Rogue One.
This is awesome. I like the cockpit for the TIE Fighters. That's really nifty.
Oh,
an A-Wing.
Nice.
I wonder if you get to fly as one of those.
Probably.
Let's see if... Yep, there's a cockpit view.
Yeah, this part more interesting than anything I've seen so far.
Yeah, I'd rather do this than the ground play.
Do you think these ships have anything in the form of, heat seekers?
Yep.
Never mind, it just did it. Never mind. Stupid question. Oh, wow, when you've been hit, do you think you can follow it all the way to the ground as you're screaming in pain and then fly it into a ship? Ha! There's the Falcon.
Alright, I'm curious how this one works.
Like a goddamn bus. Never tell me the odds. Fuck you. It's my job. Nice. There's Slave One. Yeah, more of that. More of that.
Yes. Agreed.
Let's see. Bungie is in the news lately.
Oh, what did they do wrong?
A lot of people are saying they're doing something right. They're removing Peter Dinklage from Destiny.
Oh, I heard about this.
They are retaping the entire part of the Ghost from Destiny with Nolan North doing the voice now. He's the one who did the voice of Nathan Drake in Uncharted. So starting with The Taken King, all of the Ghost lines are going to be done by Nolan North. According to Kotaku.com, there's been universal hate, more or less, for Peter Dinklage's role as a Ghost. I never understood that myself.
Yeah, me either.
I liked it. I liked the way he played it. It sounded inhuman. And I thought that was the point.
I'm not familiar with this, so I can't really weigh in, unfortunately.
Think of the Ghost as the expositionary device when it comes to going through the game, Destiny story. You know, it tells you what you need to know, and at the same time, it's in several story scenes. And it's your support device. I noticed in the last couple. I've noticed in the last couple expansions it was mute. It didn't say anything. So, I'm almost sad to hear that. Frankly, I liked his work.
Maybe he's too busy with Game of Thrones.
Maybe.
Maybe he's too busy hiding from pixels. He played a mulleted midget in Pixels.
Oh, okay.
That Adam Sandler film. There has been a new character announcement for Street Fighter V on the PlayStation 4. It's been announced officially that Vega is part of the roster. Cool. The Spanish ninja. And the original story, unfortunately, had nothing to go along with that other than a blurb about his gameplay being vastly different, a new set of tricks, and a new appearance. Fortunately, it's the internet, which means somebody blabbed about something, which means I found a YouTube. I sent it. May contain content inappropriate for children. Should I just put a disclaimer on this show now?
Yes.
Explicit?
Oh, right.
We already have that.
Oh, look! It's Vega with a shirt! He's actually pulling a non-Batman and covering up his nipples. His playstyle is definitely slowed down a bit, but it seems to emphasize reach, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's that rolling thunder of his.
Well, those clouds always give him an edge in reach.
Reach wasn't as much of a factor in the early Street Fighter II era. It was just about outpacing him. In this one, he doesn't seem to be a speed machine. It's just all about reach. Interesting, Super.
So, his power is just guitar claws?
It's not even guitar claws. He's like quasi-Wolverine. He's got claws on one hand.
Ah.
In the game, it used to be that you could knock them off. I don't know if that still applies right now.
You can knock off the mask as well.
Yeah. Which could enrage him, depending on how you did. Last up in the video game news, Kotaku.com was nice enough to put up instructions on how to transfer your Xbox 360 saves to Xbox One now that there is a level of backwards compatibility. That right now there's a limited list of Xbox One or Xbox 360 games that you can put your disc in your Xbox One and it will download the Xbox One version for you to play at no extra cost. But now you can transfer your save data to go along with it. Okay. A few preliminary things to note is that, one, your achievements in any backwards compatible game are yours forever and carry over without you doing anything.
Cool.
Okay. Microsoft requires that you have an Xbox Live profile to use Xbox One backwards compatibility.
That's reasonable.
There are instances in the past... I'm sorry.
What things will be backwards compatible specifically?
There's a list... No, there's a list of 100 games right now. They plan on expanding that in phases. Okay. Let's see. There have been some instances in the past where some publishers blocked the copying of saves on like smaller PS3 games from one PS3 to another. So depending on the publisher, you may not be able to transfer your saves. And right now, Xbox One backwards compatibility is currently active for users of the console's preview program. Okay? So what you need to do is make sure you have a 360 save file on your 360, and then you need to turn on sharing to your cloud. You do that by going to your 360 storage management screen, go to the settings, then system, then storage, then games and apps, and then the name of the game you care about, and then the saved game. All right? And then you copy or move your save and your profile data to the cloud. And then from there, you let your Xbox One find your saves. So it sounds slightly time-consuming, but at least it's not terribly complicated. Let's see, there is a list of games to go along with the story of what's currently available as far as backwards compatibility.
I would love it.
Okay. Well, I'll be sure to add a reference link. What game were you looking for?
Well, the only games I really play on Xbox right now are Rock Band, Soul Calibur, and Civ Revolution. Okay.
Well, unfortunately, those aren't currently on the list. The major games that are on the list right now are Gears of War, Banjo-Kazooie, Cameo, Mass Effect, Perfect Dark Zero, Super Meat Boy, and Viva Pinata. Those are the larger games. But, again, these are supposed to be rolled out in phases.
Zuma.
Zuma, really?
It's there.
Toy Soldiers.
This probably had to do more with which publishers were on board sooner than later. So don't take this personally if a game you're looking for isn't on it. And besides which, V, we already found out that if you buy the latest Rock Band, you get all your DLC automatically anyway.
Which is great.
Yep.
I just need to be about... newer does not necessarily equal better.
No, and we won't know till the game comes out. But frankly, I am willing to take a chance. The only thing stopping me from saying for sure what I'm doing is money.
Yeah.
I have a couple things to try to fit myself into, including registration on several conventions and family plans and all this other stuff. So I'm like anybody else. I have budgets I need to work within. From there, we'll move into Marvel Media News. We will talk about the Marvel projects that end up outside the comic book pages on your TV screen, your tablets, your movie screen, real life, what have you. And there's no way that we can avoid talking about Fantastic Four. Now, Jesse, you were the only one that, after all the trailers came out, said that you were going to go see this movie in the theaters. Did you do that?
I forgot about it.
You're probably better off.
I think I am.
There are several bloggers that saying that the Fantastic Four reboot that came out this week is the worst Marvel movie ever. Unfortunately, a lot of bloggers have that wrong because this is not a Marvel movie, it's a Fox movie using Marvel characters. There was one blogger I saw who said he received several emails saying that it's not a Marvel movie. However, because he saw a Marvel logo at the front of it, it is a Marvel movie. Therefore, he's saying it's the worst Marvel movie ever. Yeah, he showed his entire lack of intelligence in 2 sentences. It was really amazing. Right now, the movie...
I can see his point, but I disagree.
So do I. Let's see. According to RottenTomatoes.com, the Fantastic Four movie is sitting at a 9% fresh rating, which is just fucking awful. Mm-hmm. The aggregate review score is 3.4 out of 10, which makes it an even lower reviewed movie than 2005's Elektra film with Jennifer Gardner.
You know, at 9%, it's still better than Last Airbender.
I don't know about that myself. It's been called the worst rated movie of all time. Believe it or not, at its rating, it rates lower than Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, The Punisher in 2004, The Fantastic Four in 2005, Ghost Rider in 2007, Blade
It's worse than Ghost
2004.
Rider?
Yes. Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance was rated higher at 17%. You want to know how much this movie sucks? Howard the
3%?
Duck from 1986 came in at 14%. So this movie has just been getting lambasted, and even Josh Trank has distanced himself from the film.
Who is that? The
Josh Trank
director?
is the director of the movie. He tweeted 2 days before the movie came out that his version of the Fantastic Four, quote, would have received great reviews, but you'll probably never see it, unquote. He's deleted the tweet since, probably because somebody got to him. The entirety of it from August 7th, 2015 says, quote, "A year ago, I had a fantastic version of this, and it would have received great reviews. You'll probably never see it. That's reality, though," unquote. So in other words, before it came out, he basically said, "It's not mine. I didn't do this shit." Toby Kebbell, who played Dr. Doom in the movie, he said in a statement that there were several changes that happened after the movie was filmed, due largely to unpopular fan reaction, including the fact that the rumor was true. The original name of the character he was playing was supposed to be Victor Domashev. Remember the rumor that said Dr. Doom was supposed to be a hacker named Victor Domashev?
Mm-hmm.
At least half of that was originally true. Because of fan outrage of people who saw the film, they reshot all of his scenes and started calling him Victor Von Doom.
Why didn't they stick with that originally? And why am I arguing this? I don't think it really helped.
I don't know. I mean, just before the movie came out, there was a Fox exec who actually said, sorry, the Fantastic Four and the X-Men movies are happening in different universes. You almost think somebody at Fox saw how bad this was going to be and just said, okay, we need to keep this shit separated.
Why do people continue to make something if they see it's going to be bad? I tried to get just some losses back, I guess.
That's probably what it is. They already spent X amount of dollars making the movie. They had the final product, looked at it, and said, well, we got to get something back. And the movie's done horribly. It was expected originally to get somewhere to the tune of about 40 to 60 million opening weekend. Last I checked, current projections just had it at about 30 million. To put that in perspective, the second Fantastic Four film, Rise of the Silver Surfer, that actually got 55 million its opening weekend. And it played on fewer screens.
Oh boy.
And I'm not going to sit here and fault the cast. It sounds like there was a lot of studio intervention. The cast even handled itself well to a stupid question. Okay. There was a radio interview they did on the Rock 100.5 morning show in Atlanta this past Thursday. And the people asked Kate Mara and Michael B. Jordan, who plays Susan Storm and Johnny Storm, quote, "But you're white and you're black. How does that happen?" unquote. Which is just a ridiculous fucking question considering the modern state of American, family systems and everything. And the best part is the way they answered, they just ripped it apart. They said, quote, "They could be raised as brother and sister. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different family dynamics that could be without the obvious adoption," unquote.
Yeah, she just is really, really passing.
Yeah, it even got creepier because at one point, one of the hosts of this radio show asked Kate Mara, quote, "You're way, way hot. Why'd you cut the hair? Your hair was beautiful." And then she responded, and the guy just flipped past that response. And then he said, quote, "I'm a toe guy. Your toes are fine," unquote.
Okay. That's creepy.
All Kate Mara could say is, "Wow."
Is that all she's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just fucking lame.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing I will say as far as the Fantastic Four film was that there was an supposed insider for Entertainment Weekly who said that the issues with the movie were coming because of the director Josh Trank's combative behavior. But there were other sources that say that the studio and producers were meddling in the film from the beginning. According to the story, quote, "Some who worked on the film say Trank was driven to the breaking point by the studio, which delayed casting and script approvals, slashed the budget by tens of millions from what was originally promised, and tried to force last-minute changes to the film just as principal photography was beginning. With uncertainty about who should star, the studio wanted more famous actors, but Trank won that battle, and studio hemming and hawing for approvals on the final script, it stalled crew workers who were trying to build sets, make costumes, props, and prep the movie. This created confusion and stress from the get-go that often boiled over among department heads trying to put together pieces of a movie that was still in flux," unquote.
So they were still developing the plan when they started filming?
Pretty much, yeah. Not only that, because of the success of Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, the studio also mandated that the films take on a level of gritty reality, which may work for something like Batman, but for the Fantastic Four, does that sound like something they really do?
Gritty and fantastic in this sense, no.
Yeah, Entertainment Weekly went on to say, quote, "Fox executives desperately wanted to reboot Fantastic Four after the indifferently received big screen versions in 2005 and 2007, but they bristled at many of the traditional comic book elements that define the characters," unquote.
So that means make a movie out of this now.
No, they said make a movie out of this, and then they started saying how they should make a movie out of this. Because in a gritty, realistic version of the Fantastic Four, do you really think that things like Blastar, the Silver Surfer, the Absorbing Man, Galactus, do you think any of that's going to apply?
No.
The Fantastic Four, though, I think where Fox has gone wrong is their take. They always tried to make superheroes of the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four are adventurers. They're the guys that walk out into the unknown and just poke their heads out to see what happens. But that's a personal opinion. It's not like the comic book is sold all that well anyway. They canceled it after all.
Oh, that's right. We talked about that.
Yeah, the Fantastic Four comic was canceled as of, I think, earlier this year. It was a low seller. Several people have spouted conspiracy theories saying that, Marvel's trying to kill the Fox-owned, or the characters that Fox owns the movie rights to. However, the Fantastic Four in its last year of sales didn't even break the top 50, the top 60 books more than twice. And they only started to really raise their profile when Marvel announced the cancellation of the books. That's when people started to pay attention. Okay, as far as the regular Marvel media news, we're starting to get word that the new Doctor Strange film coming in late 2016 is supposed to be very psychedelic. The cinematographer for the movie is a man named Ben Davis, and he said the upcoming film is going to embrace Doctor Strange's trippy comic book roots for a psychedelic romp that will journey through dimensions. Quote, "It has a very psychedelic grounding, and it's not your typical Marvel action movie. Most of the work within is about other dimensions. And as I described it, I think when I was talking to Marvel as Marvel's Fantasia in a way, because it's so sort of out there and different to everything else they've done," unquote.
So you need to be high to enjoy this?
No. Wow, you're a cynic. All he's saying is that the movie is going to be bouncing around several dimensions, so you can expect to see places like the Dark Dimension and several other weird places only Doctor Strange can go. That makes me more curious. I've never been a Doctor Strange fan, but, the movies have turned me around to several characters I didn't like before, including Captain America.
That's true. I kind of like Captain America now, and he was always someone I was less than thrilled with in concept before.
Yeah. But speaking of which, there's been a supposed leak about which characters will end up on which sides in the movie Captain America Civil War.
Okay.
For the blue side, Captain America's team, according to the leak that's been reposted on nerdreactor.com, he'll have Hawkeye, the Falcon, the Scarlet Witch, the Winter Soldier, and Ant-Man. For Team Red, the guys on Iron Man's side, you'll have the Vision, Spider-Man, the Black Widow, and the War Machine. The rumor also states that somebody on Iron Man's squad may be a double agent. Now, this has a couple departures that we know of, because it has recently been reported and confirmed that Mark Ruffalo isn't visiting the set of Captain America Civil War. He's on set. So, unlike the comic books where he was unavailable, Bruce Banner and the Hulk will play a part.
Interesting.
Also well known from the comics, and we've read them, Spider-Man switched side halfway through.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's who they're referring to as a double agent, though, because after all, the one spy in this story is on Tony's team, the Black Widow.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how they play that out, because in the comics, she was very fervently on Iron Man's side. And I can't say that's surprising. A character that worked for the KGB, then S.H.I.E.L.D., she's always been in an agency of some sort or another.
Mm-hmm.
She's always believed in the structure of the machine, more or less.
Yep, she's lawful good.
Yeah. The Vision being on Tony Stark's side is kind of surprising.
I think... I won't say some kind of weird loyalty since he used to be Jarvis, but I think that's a weak theory. Now that I think about it.
I'm still curious about the event that kicks this off, because from what I understand, it still primarily has to do with the idea of superheroes registering and being answerable to an agency. Whether that be S.H.I.E.L.D. or something else.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why the Black Widow ended up on that side, because you can imagine S.H.I.E.L.D. would be all for superhero registration.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a rumor. Take it for what you will.
Mm-hmm.
There's news that the director of the upcoming Deadpool film already has ideas for a sequel.
Hey.
Yeah, it's a good thing he has ideas for a sequel, because something tells me that pen slot for Fantastic Four 2 is going to be up for grabs pretty soon.
Wait, was there a pen slot for Fantastic Four 2?
Yeah, it was supposed to come out in 2017.
Yeah,
it's already on the calendar. But
that's not happening. Or if it is, it shouldn't.
Well, there's a couple things going on here. First off, there were a couple characters that are supposed to be in Deadpool, but one in particular was too expensive to get, and that was Kane, Garrison Kane, who played one of Deadpool's primary problems as Weapon X.
Mm-hmm.
Garrison Kane had cybernetic arms that could change shape. They were like almost prehensile coils when he wasn't using them as arms. So the graphics for that were too expensive. That's why that character was written out of the film.
Huh.
Unfortunate, but makes sense.
Yeah. And the guy that played Colossus in the X-Men films didn't want to do Colossus for this movie because, one, Colossus had no speaking parts whatsoever, and two, the character had no actual person on film. It was all a 7.5 foot tall CG, so he just didn't want to do it.
Okay. At least pay for the likeness.
But as far as what plans he has for a sequel, the director said, quote, "There aren't really many definitive Deadpool villains apart from Cable. if we don't put Cable in Deadpool 2, I think we'll be run out of town on a rail, unquote. You think he has a point there?
I think I would use the term villain loosely. I think more rival would be more accurate.
I do think he's right, though. If you have several Deadpool appearances without some kind of appearance by Cable, you got a problem.
So who is Cable in relation to Deadpool?
Ah, that's fucking complicated.
You can't nutshell it?
Okay, let me try here.
Okay.
Cable is the son of Cyclops and the clone of Jean Grey, who was sent into the future because he had a technovirus that was given to him by Apocalypse, came back in time when he was approximately in his late 50s to early 60s as a cyborg, keeping the technovirus in check by using the totality of his psychic, telekinetic, and telepathic abilities, known to be a very powerful cyborg with a large gun who took the New Mutants and reformed them into a more extreme-style team called X-Force, was constantly being chased around by a mercenary called Deadpool who had no powers, was shot several times, nearly killed him. That's when Deadpool's mutant healing factor, or I should say scientific healing factor, kicked in, and then he became the walking, gigantic healing tumor known as Deadpool Merc with a mouth. How'd I do?
It makes sense. Okay,
Maybe
thank you.
A GIF of the entire of that entire explanation right there.
You made sense of that because I lost myself halfway through. Okay.
Well, I can only make sense of it because I was aware of everything that has happened.
I think I remember us reading the X-Force thing, so that helped click it in place. And we've talked about...
You read Ed X-Force, not the one he
well,
made.
Fair enough. We've read X-Force that I saw a Cable in it, I think. So
I'm sure there's a couple of people right now like poking at their phone and their MP3 player going, I think it's broken. He's talking too fast. What the fuck happened?
Like I said, we just need to get a soundbite of that and just do something with it.
I like it.
Yeah, there's going to be a new segment. Jeremy recounts 20 years of history. Let's see. Elizabeth Henstridge has talked a bit about her role in Season 3 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Who?
Elizabeth Henstridge. She plays Gemma Simmons on the show. At the end of Season 2, she disappeared in that black obelisk.
Already very dead.
Yeah. Thank you, Comic-Con. She talked to TV Line on Tuesday night during the ABC Television Critics Association press tour in Beverly Hills, and what she said was, quote, "We're going to find out what happened to Simmons pretty quickly. She's definitely changed by the experience, and what's happened to her is going to impact the season. Kind of as a theme or something like that," unquote.
I hope that they do more with her, because as it stands, she is my least favorite character by a significant margin. Which is not to say I don't like her at all, but...
Well, she said that when she filmed the shocking scene, she couldn't have guessed the outcome of it to play out in Season 3. She said, quote, "I didn't think they'd go that far with it, honestly. I thought she's probably just inside the rock, stuck, but all my ideas are quite boring. The writers' imaginations are much better than mine," unquote.
Well, that's why she's an actor. Was that mean? I'm sorry.
That's why you're
just
on that side of the camera, you bitch.
I didn't mean it that way, but...
Well, that's okay, because there's actually... My God, they are moving fast on this. Remember when Netflix said that they'd like to put out a new Marvel project on their streaming service about every 6 months?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
I understood that they had already cast the Punisher for Season 2 of Daredevil. I understand they already set a date on when it's supposed to be released. Or, not a date. They signed Season 2. Excellent. I didn't think they already started filming. There's already images of John Bernthal playing Frank Castle in an action scene complete with makeup that looks like he's been beat up, fighting with some dude with a gun.
Nice.
Wanna see?
Yes.
Absolutely and positively.
There's a link to the photos. All this came off flickeringmyth.com. This is amazingly fast work. And it's not very descriptive. It's not like he's going to be wearing a skull during all of his scenes. But knowing that he's supposed to be the Punisher, I gotta admit, John Bernthal, he looks like a pissy Frank Castle. I wonder what his role is going to be. The original Punisher is basically a crazed Vietnam veteran, and he can't be that old. So I wonder what his story is. Iraqi veteran?
A shame from the Walking Dead, isn't it?
Iraqi veteran. You know, much similar how they restructured Tony Stark's origin.
Yeah, V, you are correct. That's Shane from The Walking Dead. I don't know if he's supposed to be an Iraqi vet, special operative. I don't know if he's a pissed-off SWAT cop. I don't know what his story is, but he looks like I would imagine Frank Castle with maybe a little less hair. So I gotta admit, I'm happy looking at this, which is amazing because I was lukewarm on Daredevil coming out, and that turned out to be a great show. As far as Marvel TV goes, they finally announced who Agent Carter's villain is supposed to be in season 2.
Ooh.
And no, it is not the crazed Russian assassin that she ran into towards the end of the first season. They're adding long-term Tony Stark villain Madame Mask as the villain.
Madame Mask?
Yeah, Mask.
We actually saw her in that when we read Hawkeye.
Yeah, right. Madame Mask. The last word is spelled Masque. She is God. I'm trying to think of the right way to describe her because my run-ins with the character have been kind of limited. As far as I know, she was supposed to be a highborn woman. She had this weird vicious streak. Mm-hmm. She was scarred in some way, and she actually had this golden mask bonded to her face. I mean, it's very painful to fucking remove it. And for a while, she was categorized as a hero, but it turned out that was only some kind of sideways clone of her. The character herself is bad to the bone. She's not a character I'm very familiar with, but she is one of those characters that when she pops up in series like Daredevil or Iron Man, that's one of those points where long-term comic book fans kind of crap themselves. She's a dangerous villain.
Okay, what makes her dangerous?
She has a head for strategy. She's been known to shoot people in the knees who just moderately irritate her. You know, death is not always her first option. Maiming significantly is often the way she goes. She thinks pain is the way to get her point across.
She's probably not terribly wrong about that.
But if you think about it, Agent Carter is going to be a good place for that villain to show up. She's non-powered, vicious, good with a gun.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the perfect foil for Peggy Carter.
Well, they're going to play her off as remnants from the war.
That's a good question.
Because she's supposed to be from Italy.
I think so originally. Like I said,
yeah.
I'm vaguely aware of the character.
Yeah, I'm looking up the wiki right now.
Okay. Well, there's a new image that came out of the character of Aurora Monroe, a.k.a. Storm, from the set of Age of Apocalypse. It looks to be a green screen section where they're filming the character looking over a rock over Cairo as she's shifting the weather. I'm not quite sure what to expect about this movie. Considering the way that the studio treated the Fantastic Four, I don't quite know what's going to happen to this if the studio gets too involved now. I'm a little worried.
You mean you weren't worried when we saw the Apocalypse costume?
I was worried about that before, but, you know, that's one aspect of a film that could look stupid, but in motion could be much better. I mean, half the costumes on The Fifth Element look horrible in stills, but when they're in motion, it's all right.
Yeah.
You know, in this case, we've seen what happens when a studio gets way too involved in a comic book movie and tries to make it less comic booky, and now I'm worried they're going to do the same thing to the X-Men. You know, people that wave their hands and move metal or blink and destroy mountains. They may try and make this a little too gritty and real and really fuck it up.
Well, Age of Apocalypse, wasn't it gritty to begin with?
Yeah, something tells me, though, that they're not going to go specifically with that story. I think it's more of a line or a title than it is an actual storyline.
Much like Age of Ultron?
Yes. However, in possibly better news, Fox is near a deal with Marvel as far as a live-action X-Men TV series.
Yeah, I saw that.
It turns out that Fox, they do have first pick on rights when it comes to making an X-Men TV series, but unlike the movies, they don't have carte blanche to do it. They actually had to work with Marvel to get the okay to do this.
Really?
Yeah, Marvel actually has a say on how the X-Men are portrayed on TV. I don't think it's a heavy say. I don't think it's financing. I don't think they have to do with writing, casting, anything like that. But Fox has to put together a full proposal and bring it to Marvel, who has to sign off on it.
Right, okay.
But the reason why this may be good news is that the latest word is the TV show that Fox wants to make isn't the New Mutants. It isn't X-Force. It isn't the new X-Men. They'd like to do a version of Peter David's X-Factor.
Okay.
Sounds ambitious.
It's not quite as ambitious as it is because Peter David's X Factor, most of the members didn't have very loud or flashy powers. Most of them were quieter or easier to portray with special effects. Super strength, lycanthropy, sonic scream, duplication.
Ooh, duplication is cool.
Yeah.
See, the 6 primary members of Peter David's X Factor, when he rewrote it back in 2009, were Strong Guy, a depowered Richter, Wolfsbane, Siren, Monet St. Croix, and one of our favorites, their leader, was Jamie Madrox, the Multiple Man. As far as TV shows go, that's a good pick. I like that. Now, whether or not they can... it was an easy story, too, because they weren't superheroes. They were detectives. They just dealt with issues regarding superpowered people. I like it, but it'll be... I wonder how much story they can get, though, because it's not like the Marvel Comics version. They can't pick and choose which people they're going to interact with. They would have to interact either with nobody from Marvel Comics and create some characters of their own, or they'd have to deal with mutants specifically on this TV show.
Yeah.
God, I think I just soured myself on the idea. Shit. When we talk about Marvel media, that also has to do sometimes with action figures or other items. We have both this week.
Ooh.
Oh, God, yes. And it's fucking amazing. You know, Hot Toys, we've talked about several of their products, and it's creepy how lifelike they can get.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the female fans of Marvel are going to be really happy about this one because they've made one of their $250 figures. This one, though, is of Pietro Maximoff. They finally made their version of Quicksilver from Age of Apocalypse. I sent you guys the link so you can take a look. This thing is amazing.
Jesus. It's hotter than the character. And by that I mean yeah.
Which means V's has to clean herself. You might need to give her a minute.
Shut up.
No, it looks to be fully articulated. It looks like it has all the right joints at the ankles and the knees and the wrists. I don't think it has articulation in the feet necessarily, at least not from what I'm looking at. Still, though, it's disturbingly lifelike, especially in those close-up pictures. It looks really good paired up with their Scarlet Witch figure too. But their final Sideshow is also releasing the pre-orders for something we saw at Comic-Con, a limited edition Spider-Man statue. If there was ever a statue I might pay $450 for, it's this one because it's Spider-Man in his black symbiote costume.
Oh yeah.
This is an incredible piece.
And isn't that like a slight
that's
remold
pretty.
of this traditional one?
Yeah, there's a standardized version of him in his red and blue webs, which is, I think, the same price, maybe minus about $30. They haven't announced...
Stuff on the base kind of looks gross, like not, high quality, but...
I think it's supposed to be an explosion.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the top end of an explosion in fire. Or fire-lit smoke, I guess would be the way you could describe that. But they did the extra work because the original black and or blue and red version had him using his traditional web shooters. The suit didn't use web shooters; it created its own webs, and they changed the hand to reflect that.
Yep, came off the top of the hand.
I could only imagine what the conversation was like when somebody sketched up this idea and told their sculptors, "Okay, can you do this? You mean the way it's leaning like this and with the legs flailing about? Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah, like that.
Okay.
Give me a few days. It's pretty, though. I'm strongly considering picking this one up. It's huge, too.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Well, James Gunn released a statement on the 1-year anniversary of the release of the Guardians of the Galaxy film.
Mm-hmm.
It is a 7-paragraph statement, and it is... we've read a few of James Gunn's statements. He is... very well written. He seems to put out well thought out statements on the internet, which means most of the internet doesn't like that. But he did it again. Would you like to hear what he had to say?
Shoot.
Quote, 1 year ago today, Guardians of the Galaxy opened up in the U.S. and many places around the world. The movie massively overperformed that weekend, even by our own expectations. But what meant more to me is how much so many of you, no matter where you were from, took the story and the characters into your heart. What meant more to me is that We Are Groot became a rallying cry for unity among friends and families. What meant more to me is that you laughed at the dumb stuff I thought you'd miss, like Captain's Gotta Teach stuff, and I was thinking of something else. What meant more to me is that in our 10th week we were outperforming any comic book film in recent history. Not because of the money, not because people were going back to see the film a second, third, fourth, fifth time or more, because they loved it. What mattered to me is that after a lifetime of telling stories and half a lifetime making movies, I felt like you and I, filmmaker and audience, were at the same place at the same time. It mattered to me mostly because I told a story fully with my heart, and you took it into yours. I don't think I can ever explain how much that means to me. It makes every failure I've ever had well worth it. I get a lot of messages from people saying, you made me believe in movies again. Well, you guys made me believe that what I spent my life doing was worth doing. And you strengthened my belief that nothing's worth doing if it's not done honestly and it's not done with love. On this, the 1-year anniversary of the Cinematic Guardians entering our solar system, thank you, thank you, thank you. We are truly, honestly, Groot, unquote.
Aww, I really teared up.
We got her. Quick, pin her down. There's like no jokes or no further I can go in that story. He is eloquent beyond belief. Okay, V, I got to take those tears away because we're going to come to the last part of Marvel Media News, and it's a trailer I'm sure a lot of people have seen, but they're going to hear about it. The Deadpool trailer is finally out.
Which one are we going to watch?
Well, let's see. We have an explicit warning on this show, so what the frick you think we're going to do?
Well, both of them were explicit.
Actually, no. One is approved for all audiences. One is not.
Oh.
There is a green band trailer and a red band trailer. Which do you think we're doing?
Of course, a red one.
What? Are you kidding? You're so vulgar. Yeah, I sent the video. Following approved for all audiences. That's some bullshit.
I love you, Wade Wilson. We can fight this.
Oh god, it's a love story already?
Cancer's only my liver, lungs.
Yeah, total love story about the guy with cancer.
What if I told you we can make you better?
We can rebuild you.
You're a fighter. We can
What, $6 million?
Most men only dream of.
Listen to this.
Make you a superhero.
About the costume.
You just promise you'll do right by me, so I can do right by someone else.
And please don't make the super suit green or animated.
It's a sense of humor.
Had to throw in that shot, huh?
We'll see about that, Pop Spice.
Apparently he's gonna be riddled with shots of Green
Come on.
Lantern.
You gonna leave me all alone here with less angry Rosie O'Donnell?
And they reenacted the trailer, the viral trailer. That's what they did with actual people this time.
God, I want to see this movie.
Wouldn't it be sad if you hear they canceled this in favor of Fantastic Four 3?
Oh, fuck them.
Wait! You may be wondering why the red suit. Well, that's so bad guys can't see me bleed. This guy's got the right idea. He wore the brown pants.
There's the fourth wall.
Needs to express.
Like the crotch chop. Ooh. There's Colossus.
It reeks like old lady pants in here.
Sounds like you have a dick in your mouth.
Oh, motherfucker, you are hard to look at.
Like a testicle with teeth.
You look like Freddy Krueger face fucked a topographical map of Utah.
Exactly.
It's hard to come up with jokes. They're doing it too well. 2, 3.
I'm touching myself tonight.
Finally, a hero who enjoys beating up people.
You are haunting.
You look like an avocado had sex with an older avocado.
Thank you.
By the way,
I'll be honest. If this were any other trailer, I probably would have hated it.
You know what? The thing I should impart to you is that there's been some news that came out about that scene where he's jumping around with the trucks and shooting bad guys. The scene on the bridge. The director calls that the 12 bullet scene. Wilson Deadpool has to take out a bevy of bad guys and he only has 12 bullets available in his 2 guns.
I got 3 for 1.
That's why he set up that scene. It sounds like the director has much of an imagination about the character as comic book fans do.
That's always a good sign.
It usually is. From there, we bounce forward to DC media news. And the first word is an interesting one. Ben Affleck may not be directing the solo Batman film after all. Because the latest word that came out is that Den of Geek says Affleck may have been tapped to helm a Batman trilogy.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
According to Den of Geek, they say that the deal is in progress to make him direct 3 standalone Batman films, and said, quote, all told, this is a deal that could see Affleck in the role of Batman for the next 10 years or so. Basically, Warners are now working their movie universe around Ben's Batman, our source says. As far as Warner's bosses are concerned, Affleck is considered to be the definitive Batman and could be the hub around which the DC movie universe will rotate in future movies, unquote.
Just like the comics.
Well, I will say, I don't know how I feel about Ben Affleck as Batman. I'm still undecided on that. The idea of Ben Affleck directing a series of films, though, if this was about 10 years ago, I'd laugh myself stupid. But given what he's done recently with directing, I can get behind this idea.
I agree.
I really can. So, I will hold judgment until I see something. There is word, though, that the role of Scooter McNairy, who has been in a mystery role in Batman v Superman, may have been revealed. Last year, a website called The Devil's Eyes claimed that the actor is playing Jimmy Olsen. You know, the photographer friend of... Yeah, the photographer friend of Superman. However, the twist may be that according to certain rumors, Jimmy Olsen was present during the Black Zero event. In other words, the scenes near the end of Man of Steel where Superman was fighting Zod. And Jimmy lost his legs after being pinned under a falling building rubble. According to their sources, that's an accurate rumor. That would be a very different departure from the comics. Do you guys want a promo for season 2 of the TV show of Gotham?
Maybe.
Yeah.
The promo is very villain centric. It has to do with the inmates running the asylum. Any hints or guesses on which asylum that might be?
I'm not going to even dignify that with a response.
You shouldn't have to.
Wow, I think I've encountered my first mutiny after 105 episodes.
All right, ready.
Yeah, I sent the video. Let's put the number 5. Contains violence and gore. The lunatics
are very stereotypical lunatically.
Yeah. Will do stuff. Run. Wow, just like the show, it's dragging the asylum. Finally, thank you. So, you think we're getting hints on where Catwoman found that whip from?
Probably. How much you want to bet she's also Catwoman?
She's not. She's an assassin who's been trying to kill Selena Kyle for some reason. I saw her in the first season. She was by far one of the most boring actors in the entire show.
Yeah, I remember seeing her before I quit.
Yeah, wasn't she... Which one was she?
She was just some assassin that was trying to kill Selena Kyle. They never expanded on where she's from, who sent her. I don't even remember anyone even mentioning a name for that character.
Yeah, I don't remember anything about her.
Well, I could be just blocking that out. There's also some promo photos that have come out regarding Season 2 of Gotham. And this season has a subtitle of Rise of the Villains. Wow. Really couldn't come up with something better, like City Under Siege or something? Citizens on Patrol? Anything?
Seriously, they could have found a better subtitle.
It's an interesting picture. The one thing I'm kind of confused about is the lower right section of that photo underneath Penguin. You see Barbara under there. Why would she be allowed in the series? Shouldn't she be locked up? She tried to stab, was it Jim Gordon's current girlfriend, Leslie Tompkins?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she tried to kill her. Oh, yeah.
I haven't watched much past what we watched.
I don't.
Oh, no, I did watch
you.
about half of it, actually, but I didn't pay attention.
I watched most of it because it filled time while I was at work. You know, I see that the characters...
Maybe she's out because, Daddy's rich?
Maybe she killed her parents first.
Oh.
Maybe she's out because
she just went insane and killed her parents. What?
She was depressed and then kidnapped by a serial killer called the Ogre, who was looking for true love and somehow convinced her that he was her true love. And 3 days of brainwashing was apparently enough to make her kill her own parents, try to kill Leslie Tompkins, and all this other shit. It was really it was contrived storytelling and a bullshit ending to a bullshit character, which now, as we see, is not the ending. She's back somehow. But I can tell you, though, that perhaps she's back simply because they put her in Arkham Asylum, and as we know, Arkham Asylum has an unlocked revolving door somewhere in it.
Yep.
Well, 3 days of... Damn it, there's a Disney joke in here. I can't think of it.
I was afraid you were going to go a spoonful of sugar or something. I didn't know where you were going with this. It's been announced that the CW has found the actor it wants to play Hawkman in Legends of Tomorrow and possibly other of its DC shows. Mm-hmm. They've hired Falk Henschel as the actor to play Hawkman. He's going to play the classic Carter Hall version, described as the latest reincarnation of an Egyptian prince who is fated to be reborn throughout time, along with his soulmate, Kendra Saunders, a.k.a. Hawkgirl. So odds are he'll be popping up in Legends of Tomorrow, mostly. Although I don't know if he's going to be a recurring character or a one-off character. Probably closer to a one-off, since you don't want to diminish Hawkgirl by having Hawkman running around all the time.
Yeah.
Falk Henschel was actually in one episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as a Hydra agent, I think. But I don't think his role went far beyond the episode where they were using those funny shurikens that turn people into ash.
Mm.
And last up in DC media news, CW's also cast Wally West for The Flash. They've hired a young actor named Kanan Lonsdale. Wally West is a character who becomes the first Kid Flash, who later on in DC Comics becomes the, I think, second or third Flash character. He actually becomes the Flash later on in life. However, this falls in line with the current DC Comics and the current TV show in that he is part of the African-American West family. And, I don't really know what else to say beyond that. I'm enjoying the Flash TV show overall. However, I'm a little disappointed that they're introducing this character without any previous mention of him at all on the TV show. It's going to be another one of those characters that pops up like, oh, right, the brother that I have that I never talk about at all.
Isn't that what he did in the comics?
No.
Really?
No, I think Wally was a standing character before he became Kid Flash. He didn't just show up and say, hey, remember me? You sent me off to college and then I got amnesia or something like that. Never liked narratives like that. Introduce new characters? Fine. Give them a story first.
Yeah.
From there, we hop into general media news. We talk about the nerdy projects that don't fall under the umbrellas of Marvel and DC. I'm amazed that this is happening, given how terribly the made-for-TV movies have done. But everything old is new again, so I'll give this a shot. Warner Brothers has announced that after 10 months and a trial, they have the rights and will move forward with a Dungeons & Dragons movie.
Oh, yes, I heard about this.
Wait, what?
I'm curious. I'm going to see it.
Warner Brothers is making a full-blown Dungeons & Dragons movie. They already have a screenplay written by David Leslie Johnson, who did The Conjuring 2. And the screenplay is going to be set in the D&D world of Forgotten Realms.
Okay. Hopefully it'll be better than that other one I saw.
Well, it's going to be produced by Courtney Solomon, Alan Zerman, and Roy Lee, who worked on the Lego Movie.
You know, I still haven't seen that.
I haven't either.
It's worth a watch. I can't say it's worth an own. The jokes get old very fast in the Lego Movie. There's also a new teaser trailer when it comes to the new prequel series for The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting little scene because it has no gore whatsoever. It just kind of sets an interesting tone for what you may see in this series. I sent it. There you see the cityscape of LA in a time lapse. And losing power.
Riots.
Yeah, those ain't riots. That be fire. Kill it with fire. I'm curious to see that. That's one story that wasn't told in the TV show of the actual fall of society.
Yeah, that's true.
And have you seen the teaser trailers of kids skateboarding?
No.
There is a creepy one because it's about 30 to 40 seconds of kids at a skate park just using one of the pools. You know, they're jumping up and down, nothing's happening, and then in the foreground of the shot, which is at cement level, you suddenly see this shambling pair of feet, you know, hesitate and start moving forward towards the kids, and that's when it cuts to Fear the Walking Dead, coming soon to AMC.
Oh, that's creepy.
It is.
Yeah, it's good suspense.
Oh, the snippets of information that come out are interesting. One of the lead characters is supposed to be this kid who doesn't have the best, the best attendance or attitude about school, and as he's in school, there's one kid that's thrown into his class by the, administrators who caught him outside, quivering with a knife, mentioning that some homeless dude tried to eat him. In other words, there's somebody that's aware that the zombies are coming, but nobody believes the zombies. They just think he's some, telling some kind of story trying to get out of school.
Right.
So shit starts happening very quickly. In other positive news, V, remember last week we found out that Ian McShane is joining the cast of Game of Thrones for Season 6?
Yeah.
Oh, he's not the only accredited actor being added. Max von Sydow is now involved in Season 6.
I'm not familiar with that name.
He has played a bunch of roles over time. I don't know if I could say succinctly what he's been in. He's one of those actors that if you ever saw his face or heard his voice, you would know perfectly who he is. I believe he was even in Star Wars for a role. But as far as the Game of Thrones go, he is going to be the Three-Eyed Raven.
Interesting.
He's playing the voice of the Three-Eyed Raven.
What's the guy's... How do you spell his name?
Max von Sydow. 3 words. Last word is spelled S-Y-D-O-W. He was in Robin Hood. Robin Hood is Sir Walter Loxley. The one with Russell Crowe.
I've seen this guy around, yeah.
Okay. Let's see. He was in Rush Hour 3 as the villain. He was in Minority Report as the villain as well. You can see where this is going.
Oh, yeah. That I've seen him in that.
Shutter Island.
The Tudor.
Yeah, he was in the original Judge Dredd, the one with Sylvester Stallone. So he has been around for a very long time. His filmography goes all the way back to 1949.
Jesus.
Yeah. I think he was in the Exorcist films, too. Yeah, he played the priest. So
they certainly get some all-star actors on this.
You aren't kidding. Now, people have said that when it comes to Doctor Who, there's a lot of excitement over Maisie Williams, who plays Arya Stark on Game of Thrones, joining for an episode. Just 1 or 2 episodes. It's not supposed to be a recurring role. There's been a lot of speculation that she's going to play another version of Jenny. I think she was in the 4th season of the revitalized series as the Doctor's daughter. Okay?
Okay.
Well, Stephen Moffat has decided to slap away those rumors. He said to the Television Critics Association press tour, quote, "I really can't tell you. I think once you see what she's up to in the show, you'll appreciate what a clever idea of Brian Minchin's. That was my co-exec who thought of Maisie for this part. It's a significant role. We're not throwing her away. We're not just getting star value and doing nothing with it. It's a great part, and she's terrific in it. But I would say it will develop in unexpected ways. One thing I think is worth saying because it keeps coming up as an issue. She is not playing a returning character. She is a brand new character. She is not someone from the Doctor's past. Unless I'm lying, unquote.
I like that he put that in there.
Yeah, he just had to. And there's also been scenes of a new potential filming for Star Wars. I'm going to send you a link to the website because it'll probably take less time than showing you the images. You'll see several images of what looks to be stormtroopers, with their helmets off on a set. The first image actually looks like somebody spotted the helicopter. Then you see a wide view. Yeah, then you see a wide view of what looks to be everybody on set, and the set looks like the gangplank to a ship. You can see several props in the third picture, more people standing around, and then the fourth picture of people on a beach. So there's been speculation as to what exactly is going on. The word is these pictures are not from Star Wars Episode 6 or Star Wars Episode 7. The current word is these are the first set pictures from Star Wars Rogue One.
When does this one come out?
I believe 2017. So that would be the right time frame. Rogue One is supposed to be the prequel series, if I remember correctly.
Hey, yeah, you're using the old Stormtrooper helmets from the original series.
Yeah. That's not the only Star Wars news we have. There's been an accident associated with Star Wars, unfortunately.
Another one?
Well, not in regards to the movie. There's a Toys R Us in British Columbia, Canada, that already began selling toys for the Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Oh.
The reason why that's a problem is that the toys are scheduled to be released on September 4th, Star Wars Force Friday. May the 4th be with you.
Mm-hmm.
The photos of the toys that are being sold reveal a panel detailing a First Order Stormtrooper playset that folds out into an unidentified landscape, a Millennium Falcon Micro Machine playset that doubles as a Jakku Desert port, a Order Star Destroyer playset including an accompanying TIE Fighter and Black X-Wing, a Nerf gun featuring the First Order Stormtroopers design on the packaging, blue Resistance-themed and red New Order-themed Nerf darts, and a miniature Millennium Falcon. I'm sure that's a bunch of information that Hasbro did not want out right now.
Yeah.
And last up in general media news, wow, Netflix is doing really well when it comes to their original programming. They've announced Season 2 has been signed for their new series and original series, Sense8.
I've heard a lot of good things about that. Wasn't that on...
That was on that list of shows you read a couple weeks ago of 15 shows that redefine sci-fi. It's the show that's been done by comic writer J. Michael Straczynski and the Wachowski siblings. For those that don't remember, Sense8 is about 8 people around the world who are mentally linked.
Yeah, it looks like a weird idea, like in description, but when they go, the reviews for it are like glowing. So.
Yeah, I completely agree there. It sounds interesting. It's just I need to see an episode or two. I need to stop hemming and hawing and actually sit down and do it. Well, from there we will bounce into Marvel comic news. We'll talk about the Marvel comics upcoming and news regarding the comics that spawned movies. First up, the first few pages have been released in preview for Invincible Iron Man. It turns out that the new Invincible Iron Man, the one that's going to be in the all-new, all-different Avengers, even though this man said that the Avengers no longer have Stark money to play with, it is Tony Stark in that armor. And what you get from the preview dialogue is that this new armor design he has incorporates the best aspects and abilities of all of his previous armors. I can send you guys a link so you can take a look at the images.
Sure.
He is now playing around with a new AI that falls in line with the movies. He's calling it Friday, and it has the image of a female. So he has a digital Gal Friday for himself. And it also gives him attitude. It apparently sits and listens to him and watches him while he works.
Okay.
The dialogue between the two is, Friday, how long have you been not really sitting there? The entire time? I didn't create your hollow AI to creep me out. No, you created me to be a little pal who helps you keep your head screwed on straight. Now, you can't go out now.
I like that she's informing him he has a date.
Yeah.
And not to be late.
I know. Yes, you'll be late soon. Don't be late. Women do not find it cute. Oh, like you know. No woman on planet Earth has ever found it charming. They call it strike one.
Okay, this looks entertaining.
Agree.
This is something that V and I talked about last week because word is the guy writing it, Brian Michael Bendis, the guy credited with revamping the Avengers, he's writing not one Iron Man series, but 2 Iron Man series that are supposed to happen at the same time.
Nice.
It has a sister series coming with it. It looks like this thing has repulsors in the back of the hands as well as the front now, though. And it does look like it changes shape like his recent silver armor, too. I'm suitably curious.
Yeah.
There have been 2 pieces of news coming out about the new Thor series post-Secret Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both relatively interesting for different reasons. The first one is that they've released a new, I guess you could say, macro teaser image for the new series. It's a gigantic gatefold that shows a lot of characters that'll be used in this new series, and it involves a lot of regular Thor characters. Take a look at this. It is massive.
Damn.
Okay, is Malachite's head just floating there?
A guy's head? Which one are you talking about?
The half black, half purple
Oh,
face.
yeah.
Oh,
I'm
that's
guessing
Malekith the
invisibility?
Accused. No, that's Malekith the Accused. He's a magician.
Okay.
Now you see a Minotaur. I see Beta Ray Bill.
Hercules?
Yeah.
Is that Maria Hill back there? No.
No, I think that's Monica something. Monica Chang.
Or
It's a relatively new character that spawned out of the Ultimate Universe, believe it or not.
Is it Angela?
Yeah, that's Angela up there with the wings.
Right.
I also see the Warriors 3 and Sif down front. And looks to be an elf with a gun.
Where?
Down at the bottom. Take a look at the name, The Mighty Thor. Look just right of the R.
Oh.
That appears to be an elf with a gun.
It looks like a weird flintlock.
Yeah. I do see Thor Odin's son on this, too. So the regular, old Thor will be involved still.
And his rams are there.
Yeah, Loki looks a bit more dirty, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Maybe he's going back to villain for this.
Well, there's Hela.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's Freya right next to Loki.
I think so. But that's not the only bit of Thor news this week. In regards to the current Secret Wars version of Thor's, the plural version, Issue 3 is going to have one of those weird manga variants we've heard about over the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably the best manga variant I've seen because it involves a different version of Thor. Check this out. The manga version involves the Throg, the Thor frog.
Oh my.
There was a classic story. It's kind of a notorious story among Silver Age Marvel fans when Loki managed to cast a spell on Thor and turn him into a frog. But even though he was miniaturized, he still had the costume on. He was still able to use the miniature hammer.
And it still
That's
hurts.
so cute.
Yeah, the image was done by mangaka artist Ryumoto, so this is an actual Japanese artist doing a manga variant for him. I might have to find that somewhere. The new writer for Deadpool is talking about major changes post-Secret Wars. For the all-new, all-different Marvel, he's talking about Deadpool being, quote, more Deadpool than you wanted. He's taking a gamble with this because Deadpool is going to find himself in a position of leadership. He's going to be well-renowned, well-known, and well-loved.
Okay.
Oh, crap.
They released a teaser image to go with it. I talked about it with my wife, who's a tremendous Deadpool fan. We can't decide if he's supposed to be a politician or a CEO in this picture. Take a look at this. You see the giant Macy's Day-style balloon float back there? There's pictures of him endorsing products, signing a baby's forehead.
I talk forever down at the very right center bottom.
Yes.
We love you,
yeah.
Deadpool.
And the worst part is there's always the chance this entire cover is another version of one of Deadpool's hallucinations. So there's no telling what exactly this means at all. Now Marvel Comics also includes Star Wars comics.
Mm-hmm.
And there is now word that one of the new series that Marvel Comics will be putting out as far as Star Wars will be Star Wars Shattered Empire. And it's going to focus on new characters that have nothing to do with the movies.
Okay.
It's going to be a married couple named Kes and Shara Bay. Shara is a pilot, Kes is the muscle. They're both exhausted rebel veterans who mistakenly think the war is over at the end of Return of the Jedi. And there's going to be moments where in the comics, where they intersect with the legacy characters like Han and Luke and Leia. They're not going to interact with the new movie characters as far as it's known, but you're actually going to see the fallout of what happened after Return of the Jedi through the eyes of these new characters. In other words, you've seen The Force Awakens. Those promos make it look like it's been 20, 30 years after the events of Return of the Jedi, right?
Mm-hmm. So
Star Wars Shattered Empire tells the moments of the first few minutes after Return of the Jedi. There's a major misconception that happened in a lot of 80s movies. When you killed the leader of an evil organization, the organization just collapsed right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
As the writer put it, evil organizations don't tend to just fall apart like that. Sometimes people will grab a Star Destroyer and say, well, this is mine, see you later, guys, and form their own armies. And a few others will stick together and continue the work of the army. And a few others might actually empty some Imperial coffers and say, headed to Aruba, bye. And this is going to be a story along those lines. I like his thought process, I gotta admit.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
DC Comic News is a little bit light this week. There's only 2 stories. The first one is the writer of the Omega Men is going to tell a new Kyle Rayner story in an epic fashion, as he put it, that explores terrorism and religion.
Okay.
The writer,
already disinterested.
Yeah, the writer's name is Tom King. He's working with an artist named Barnaby Bagenda on the Omega Men. They were first introduced as characters in a band of terrorists who had recorded an assassination of a former Green Lantern, Kyle Rayner. As a result, they're being hunted by most of the Vega system. By issue 2 of the Omega Men, it was revealed that Kyle is actually alive. And in the first 3 issues, King has been twisting the story of the DC characters to the point where it's difficult to tell who are the bad guys and who are the good guys. I like aspects of what they're talking about. However, they could have done this without the Green Lantern mythos. Then again, considering the way the Green Lantern books have gone, maybe the Green Lanterns needed this kind of story.
Take your word for it. Haven't read any of it yet.
I feel it's been on the downfall since before the Black Lantern saga really kicked in, but that's personal. And the only other story I've got is another preview set of pages. This is from Batman number 43, where it turns out it's a talk between Batman and Batman.
Yeah, I think I read this.
The current Batman, Jim Gordon, is talking to Bruce Wayne, trying to ask him to get in touch with the old Batman so he can ask for advice. He's also asking for Bruce Wayne's support because it's been public that Wayne Enterprises funded Batman and Batman Incorporated somehow.
Wait, Batman is Incorporated now?
There was a Batman Incorporated. In other words, there were Bat characters around the world who were helping keep the peace in various areas.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of got the most interest from the last pages where it shows that Bruce Wayne is now working in the Lucius Fox Center for Gotham Youth. He's running a kids' charity. And then there's Alfred driving a car with Clark Kent in the passenger seat. It's weird to see Clark Kent say, I see him in there, and it's just not him. Quite the contrary, Mr. Kent. That man is the only true Bruce Wayne to ever walk the earth. If that's the case, Alfred, then please, just tell me, what happened to the old Bruce? I'm not sure if Clark Kent asked that question or if comic fans across the U.S. asked that question. And is it just me, or I should send you the link because I'd like you to be able to take a look at it. Is it just me, or does the Bruce Wayne in these pages talking to the shaven Jim Gordon there look like Archer? He looks like Archer with his hobo beard.
Yeah, I agree. It's the eyes and the hair color.
Yeah, I can't judge that because I don't watch Archer.
The Icon. He does look a little bit like Archer. Quite a bit, actually. Especially with the squintiness. Totally looks exactly like him. Oh, wait, no, that's a comparison.
No.
Yeah, see? Second comment on the bottom.
Well, general comic news is also kind of light this week. In general comic news, we also talk about convention news. And one of the images, or one of the stories that came out is that Lionsgate sent out a survey regarding their new streaming service based around Comic-Con. According to the survey they sent out, it says in the first page, quote, "Dear Comic-Con fan, Comic-Con is in the midst of making much of the convention experience a year-round event, like it isn't already. We're working on creating a 24/7 virtual destination for Comic-Con that will include exclusive content, movies, TV shows, and trailers, to panels and workshops, and some behind-the-scenes footage created especially for you. And we need your help. Comic-Con would be nothing if it wasn't for you, and we want to hear what you think. Be a part of this exciting new chapter in Comic-Con by filling out the survey enclosed in the link below. It will take only a few minutes, but go really far in helping us create the best, the truest, the most awesome experience for you, because you deserve it." They want to know what platforms you use to watch pop culture entertainment over the last year, and they want you to check all that apply. They're talking about traditional TV, cable, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, digital video recording device, iTunes, Crackle, desktop or laptop, tablet or mobile device, or other. What's other? Hooker boobs? They ask, why do you participate in such discussions? To get a better understanding of plot intricacies, to get into discussions, debates, to get additional reviews and reveals, to connect with favorite actors. Is there an all of the above section here? Because I'm pretty sure I've done all this.
Just check every box.
Yeah, really. How do you continue engaging with your favorite content during its off-season hiatus? I check the draft. For a Comic-Con subscription video-on-demand service, please choose the 3 options below that you're most interested in seeing. Superhero movies, non-superhero movies, television, video game, fantasy, sci-fi, horror, anime, classic, graphic novels, celebrity talent, the business behind making Comic-Con, makers and artisans, art, merchandise, and related entertainment focused on collectible objects and memorabilia. You're going to make me choose 3?
Yeah, I don't think that's enough.
Yeah, that's not enough. You're an ass.
Put it in the comments. You're an ass.
They list that as one of the reasons why I subscribe to the service. I don't think so. How do you keep tabs or follow live events remotely? Yes. And the last question they have listed on the website, which I don't think is all the questions necessarily. In which of the below ways have you ever participated in pop culture entertainment? I'm sorry. In which of the below ways have you participated in pop culture entertainment related discussions?
Podcast.
All of them.
Listening to entertainment-focused radio, listening to visiting fan message boards, visiting the general interest websites of newspapers such as destinations as BuzzFeed, Huffington Post, Slate, Salon, etc., by visiting such entertainment-focused blogs as The Vulture, AV Club, IGN, Television Without Pity, by visiting fan-focused websites, blogs such as Collider, CBR, by listening to entertainment-focused podcasts, other place not mentioned.
Other, Jeremy Wilson.
Shut up. Not your ghetto tour guide. Last bit of general comic news I have is that there is a new webcomic out called MFK. It's regarding a superpower girl on a quest to scatter her mom's ashes.
Okay.
All right.
Shouldn't that be over quickly?
It would
Depends
be,
on
except
the powers.
It also depends on the world. This is all happening in a world where sleeping gods are starting to wake.
Oh, fun.
So she has to deal with life, trying to scatter her mom's ashes. The gods are starting to wake, and she has a bit of responsibility because she has, as the story on IO9 has it, world-moving superpowers.
Oh, she's a paragon?
Sounds like it. There's also renegade paparazzi, people with unusual abilities, plague defenseless towns like this. And while the gods have been long absent from the world, they are merely sleeping, and some have started to wake.
So they took a nap, and now they're up again.
They're like you. They're slapping the alarm on the iPhone. Next up in our lineup is anime and Japan news. Being that most of us are anime fans, we have an interest as to what's coming out from across the seas, especially since a lot of interesting video games tend to come from there, too. V, last week we talked about that new cute monster cafe that's opening up.
Yep.
The artist behind it, Masuda Sebastian, has been called Gotti, and we saw a couple of his designs. It made us curious, but not exactly something we do.
Mm-hmm.
There are more images that have come out, and I will send you a link to the page, because it is now confirmed this is not something we would want to do. Seriously, take a look at these. I have seen more images of this thing, and the more I see of it, it looks like what would happen if Willy Wonka was on crack, designed a room, then decided to take down some meth and redesign the whole fucking thing.
No.
It is really bright, very frickin' bizarre. It looks like a strawberry shortcake-inspired whorehouse.
The fuck? Yeah, no.
No. That last image of the two bizarre-looking women eating a parfait or something, am I wrong, or is that like a unicorn's ass on her shoulder? She's wearing it like Judge Dredd. I mean, Wow. That is just so bright. It's like a 70s sex room. It actually kind of reminds me of the sex rooms from Logan's Run.
Yeah, you're right.
Not something I'm used to hearing. Do you know what an isopod is?
Not without some context?
Yeah.
Okay, an isopod is a sea creature, as it turns out. I am not personally familiar with these things. However, it's one of those things that probably ends up on the list of creatures I would never choose to eat. If you take a look at this, it looks like a Tim Burton version of a tick.
Oh.
That is an isopod.
Oh my.
Okay, the reason why this ended up in Anime in Japan news is because they are now making a cracker out of this thing.
Okay.
I'm not kidding. They're making a new cracker out of these giant isopods. They live at ocean depths at about 550 feet to 7,020 feet. They resemble terrestrial pill bugs, and they grow to a length of over 16 inches. Here's the thing. The crackers that... there was a fisherman named Hasegawa. Okay?
Okay.
And he caught a couple of these things. They roasted it and discovered it was delicious. It tasted like shrimp and crab, which isn't terribly unsurprising. Then they tried to crush them into powder without adding any flavor, and it wasn't very successful because the bugs are omnivorous. The smell of their organs was too pungent. So they kept testing different seasoning and varying amounts of powdered isopod until they found the perfect balance, and now they're producing a cracker snack on the same production line as prawn crackers. A box of these things costs 13 yen, and they're already sold out of the first production batch of 3,500 boxes.
Damn.
This is not making me hungry.
No.
It's weird to look at, and I already have this thing against shrimp and lobster, and this is not helping me.
I don't want to eat it. I mean, I'd eat it if I had to, but I don't.
You know what? This reminds me of the shrimp crackers my mom tried to feed me when I was a kid.
Yeah, but those were made out of, shrimp.
Yeah, I still didn't like it.
They weren't made out of something that looked like it came off Shamu's ass. Okay, Jesse. No
Yes?
growling noises, no moaning, no crying.
Attack on Titan?
No, according to Variety, Lionsgate has signed Michael Gracie to direct a live-action adaptation of Naruto. An American film company is making a live-action Naruto film.
Silence.
Oh, he told me to be quiet, so I'm being quiet.
Not only that, we also have the lukewarm news that Avi Arad and his son Ari are producing through Arad Productions. Avi Arad is one of the producers behind the Sony Spider-Man films, the original ones. Even better is the news that Michael Gracie, who's directing this, is a former visual effects specialist who moved into directing. He's been attached to several studio projects that are in development, including an adaptation of the New York Times bestseller Daughter of Smoke and Bone, and his Elton John biopic Rocket Man, with Tom Hardy attached, and Fox's P.T. Barnum biopic The Greatest Showman on Earth. So, according to all this man Michael Gracie doesn't actually have a film. He's got several films in the works, but he hasn't actually put out a film as director yet. Opinions?
Taking a lot of risk with movies.
Yeah, Naruto, though, is going to be difficult.
How about Monopoly?
I said difficult, not fucking painful. V, what were you going to say?
It seems like it's too early to tell, really.
That's going to be a difficult story to adapt, though. I mean, Naruto as a base concept is very simple, but a lot of the storytelling that is being adapted from has a lot of Japanese cultural and contextual items in it that don't translate well to U.S. U.S. viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to know how they're going to get around that.
They could do what Fox did with One Piece.
Did that go anywhere? I'm asking a serious question. I'm not being dickish because I don't know anything about a live-action adaptation of One Piece in the U.S.
Oh, I'm talking about the anime that he did. Wow.
Oh, okay.
Last time ago.
Yeah. Japan has interesting ideas on what educational events should be. They had a recent exhibit called Karada no Fushigi Daiboken, Mysteries of the Body Grand Adventure. Okay, it's supposed to be a giant setup to help kids understand the grosser aspects of human biology.
Oh, no.
Which is a difficult thing, I grant you. It's hard to explain to kids how the body works without getting really detailed and either having their eyes glaze over or tell them something extremely horrific. However, this is not the way I would tell this story. Take a look at this image.
No, don't make me look at this.
No, you gotta look at this.
Oh my.
Oh, God.
Why would you make a child walk into a giant anus?
I don't know, but I'm amused.
To be honest, the thing I saw was a lot bigger than this.
This is still a horrible idea. Here, walk in the way it doesn't usually go, kids. And it gets worse. I mean, there's another picture that apparently there's a gigantic poop outside this anus that kids could climb. I'll say it. This is a shitty exhibit.
Thank you. Because I was about to.
This event is still going on at the Saitama Super Arena until August 22nd. I don't know a single kid on Earth that's going to say, Dad, can we go back and see that giant ass again? Well, okay. Correct that.
Some of them more.
I was about to say, I'm sure Kanye West has said that several times in his lifetime.
There's be some good blackmail pictures for the kid. Yeah, you see him, he's climbing this piece of shit.
I think it's awful. There are several words I can't use to describe how weird and stupid this is. Okay, from there we'll move into nerd interest news. Because we're nerds, we're interested in technological and sociological innovation. And there are certain things that comic books and anime just are not a part of that are still interesting. Such as, on io9.com, Andrew Liptak came up with a list of 11 history books you should read before writing your own military sci-fi novel.
Ooh, this ought to be interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot of information. I don't know if I can go through this and still have the show be a svelte 3 hours, but I can give you the list at least.
Okay.
One Bullet Away, The Making of a Marine Officer by Nathaniel Fick. American Soldiers, Ground Combat in the World Wars, Korea and Vietnam. Ashley's War, The Untold Story of a Team of Women Soldiers on the Special Ops Battlefield by Gail Zemach Lemon. War by Sebastian Junger. The Modern Mercenary, Private Armies and What They Mean for World Order by Sean McFate. God, this is a very varied list of These would be biographies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Factual biographies. 6. Learning to Eat Soup with a Knife. Counterinsurgency Lessons from Malaya and Vietnam by John Nagel. Wings, Women in War. Soviet Airwomen in World War II Combat by Raina Pennington. Wired for War. The Robotics Revolution and Conflict in the 21st Century by P.W. Singer. The Untold War. Inside the Hearts, Minds, and Souls of Our Soldiers by Nancy Sherman. Vietnamese Women at War. Fighting for Ho Chi Minh and the Revolution by Sandra C. Taylor. And finally, Love My Rifle More Than You, Young and Female in the U.S. Army by Kayla Williams. Wow, that just the list of titles sounds like a varied list of viewpoints on the world of warfare.
That's good.
It does, but again, that's a list of 11 books IO9 refers you to, and Andrew Lipitak refers you to, as reference materials before writing your own military sci-fi novel. Good list. I wish Steve was here because it's been announced that Halo is taking the jump from video games to a tabletop miniature game.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
It's going to be called Halo Fleet Battles. It's going to be on console and PC gaming. Polygon got a chance to take a look at the game just last weekend at Gen Con. The current offering is called Halo Battle Fleets: The Fall of Reach. It's described as a 2-player expandable miniature war game firmly set in the Halo universe. Now, the base set is called The Fall of Reach. It's going to contain 32 UNSC models and 17 Covenant models. They range in size from less than an inch long to nearly 6 inches in length, and all come unpainted and unassembled in the box. There are 30 custom dice as well as punch-out scenery, tokens, and documentation, including the Fall of Reach campaign guide that 343 Studios worked hard to create. So it's been produced in conjunction with 343 Industries. This sounds like up your guys' alley.
Well, I don't know. I've never really been into Halo all that much, but I'd give it a shot.
Gizmodo also has a story about how coastal cities are preparing for cataclysmic floods. We've seen that there's been a lot more storm activity in the last few years. And with the threats of melting ice, coastal cities especially are going to have to think about how to defend themselves against eventual rising waters.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because according to a pair of studies in the periodical Science, they're looking at the ways coastal areas are preparing for cataclysmic flooding and storms that will threaten them over the next few centuries. And there's both heartening and terrifying conclusions. According to the story, richer countries will be more vulnerable.
Really?
Yeah. If you think about the way richer countries go, including this one in the U.S., people tend to congregate where the weather is more fair, right?
Mm-hmm.
The weather tends to be more fair and more predictable in coastal areas. It's much more steady. Not just coastal areas, even in river deltas, you can pretty much tell where the weather is going to be. The only thing that varies is the level of humidity. So larger metropolitan areas tend to pop up around larger bodies of water of some sort.
Yeah, that's totally true. There's also, like, means of our conveyance and all that, too.
Commerce, too. The study also concludes that the way we're geoengineering our coastal cities right now is only good for the next few decades, but in a century or two, our designs will be working against us. Okay? In other words, some of the ways that we deal with rains and flooding are adequate now, but as weather becomes more extreme because of climate change, those ways will no longer do us any good. We've even had a recent rapid loss of coastline in Louisiana. So this is a problem that's probably going to need more looking into, but...
The apocalypse comes slowly.
I was not going to say the apocalypse. I would say that because we're still electing morons to run our affairs, we're not going to get anywhere with this. We really need more scientists to be in positions of authority.
Agreed.
Now,
I'll fix everything when I'm in charge of the world.
All hail the Great Destroyer! All hail the Great Destroyer!
There's a cat up a tree.
Oh, jeez. There's also a recent hair that our own planet may be sprouting super dense hairs of dark matter. There's a JPL California research scientist. He's suggesting that thin strands of dark matter filaments are actually spreading out from large planetary bodies like Earth and Jupiter.
Huh.
If this is true, yeah, if this is true, if he's actually been able to detect this, that means we may finally have a way to track the motion of the strings of dark matter, which has long been theoretical in physics.
Mm-hmm. I'd be very interested to read about that. Dark matter is fascinating.
Yeah, according to the guy writing the study, Gary Prezo, he says, quote, as evidence of dark matter's existence has become overwhelming, understanding its natures and interactions through the observation of both direct and indirect dark matter detection has become an increasingly vigorous field of inquiry, unquote. Now, according to New Scientist, they explained that Prezo wondered what would happen if a stream of dark matter pierced a planet like Earth. He calculated that the planet's gravity would bend the particles' trajectories and focus them to a point. This lensing effect would concentrate dark matter along an axis passing through Earth's core, reaching densities about 1 billion times more than the average focal point. Huh. So in other words, because of the gravity of larger planets, it would gather up dark matter and just kind of focus it down to a point and create a hair of dark matter. But if this is true, it would also have 3 specific benefits. One is that a hair of dark matter being proven would provide a uniquely powerful laboratory to study dark matter interactions. 2, hairs are more unique windows into the fine structure of the local dark matter streams. And 3, a hair discovered near Earth or Jupiter would find counterparts in all solar system bodies, providing a powerful universal tool to probe the interior of almost any planet or moon. Now, does anybody know what exactly dark matter is?
I don't think so.
No clue.
Like, okay, I don't know that
I was hoping for another explanation. I'm not being
catty.
Dark matter
is it's sort of like... Okay, this is going to be a really crappy explanation, but from what I understand, from what I've read, dark matter is like something we know is there based on the calculations of, I want to say, mass in the universe. Like, we looked at the numbers and we're like, this is the observable things that we see, and and here is gravity being produced by something, but we can't see it.
Okay, well, digging through the story, they describe dark matter as something that accounts for nearly 85% of all of the stuff in the universe.
Right.
But it's never been detected directly. It doesn't emit or absorb light or any other electromagnetic radiation. The hypothesis is that dark matter only interacts with our visible universe through gravity, and is predicted to manifest as halos, disks, and streams.
So I was sort of right.
You were on the right trail, for sure. So there's no word about it emitting any sort of mass, but it's some kind of substance that is out there that we can't interact with or visualize or conceptualize very well as of yet.
Mm-hmm.
But the discovery of it, yeah, that could change a lot. Could you imagine what would happen if we ever created, like, dark matter sails?
Oh, yeah.
We might actually get somewhere. That also sounds like the perfect title for a new sci-fi show. Dark Matter Sails.
Actually, yeah.
Also, next week will be the first time that astronauts eat space lettuce.
What?
Expedition 44 crew members on the International Space Station are about to eat the very first crop of vegetables produced in space.
Huh.
This coming Monday, a batch of red romaine lettuce will be harvested from the veggie plant growth system on the ISS laboratory.
And the zombie plague begins.
Wow, you are just full of sunshine today.
I don't know.
No, I think she's just bored.
Well, this is kind of important because if this works well, this is the kind of laboratory that could be used as a model for similar harvests and vegetable farms in in colonization attempts.
Yeah.
I want to go. I want to go live in an asteroid now.
Look, V, there's a rule to this, though, because if you're going to do this, this means you cannot dominate and kill the plants. You got to live with them.
I understand that.
So you say.
There are also some psychological tests that you must pass as well.
Yeah, after Comic-Con, Jesse's still missing 3 fingers. But it is an interesting step. We might actually be getting closer to deeper space flights then.
Yeah. Or just ways to put our farming off planet so we put less strain on the planet that we are on.
Yeah, but if we manage to get deeper into space, how do you think we'll pay for stuff?
I don't know. I'm confused about economy.
Well, Visa, Visa and the NASA Federal Credit Union have an idea.
Oh?
They've teamed up with CBS Consumer Products, and they're unveiling a new Star Trek-themed credit card. Wow, you heard that sound, didn't you?
Yeah.
They're producing 4 credit cards that are Star Trek-themed. One has an image and symbol of the Starfleet Academy. The second has United Federation of Planets from like the 1970s and 80s Star Trek films. Mm-hmm. The third is stylized in the form of Star Trek The Next Generation, complete with Captain Pin rank insignias. Nice. And the fourth one has the designs of at least 3 different starships that have bear the name Enterprise on it, all in blueprint form.
I want that one.
I'm surprised they didn't make one with the Ferengi flag banner on it.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Ferengi or Vulcan even would be another common one.
Wouldn't that be something you hand
like Klingon?
Wouldn't that be something you hand over the credit card that has a Ferengi insignia and it says the 38th law of acquisition? Go fuck yourself. But I guess you have to be a member of the NASA Federal Credit Union to have these cards. They're coming available they are coming available in September, and they are now accepting applications.
I'm going to look into this.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
Oh my god, I am such a nerd.
Welcome to the club.
Well, Kotaku has an interesting story of 10 former trolls who tell stories about why they stopped being trolls.
This should be good.
Some of this.
I can read at least one of these. There's one that stuck out in my mind because it had the title "The Star Wars Hater."
Okay.
According to this user, quote, "I used to be a Star Wars prequel hater troll. Given any mention of them online or in real life, I would always bring up everything that sucked about them. Memes, George Lucas hate, Jar Jar jokes, Jake Lloyd and Hayden Christensen hate. I was terrible to people who actually loved these films. Basically, I was a total a-hole to anyone who liked them and made sure they knew they were an idiot for liking something so obviously and objectively bad. Turns out, opinions can't be objective. I saw episode 1 and 2 several times before Revenge of the Sith came out. I only saw episode 3 1.5 times before giving up. About a year ago, I decided to watch the movies again and recut them to be better. In order to do this, I watched the films 3 times each. After doing my cuts and watching them, I realized that the films were actually pretty good before my edits. Upon further reflection, I realized that most of my hate for the films came from 2 things. The more minor one was that they just weren't what I expected them to be. How could they have been? The major one, which I only recently realized, was that I was in a terrible emotional abusive relationship when episode 3 premiered, and that relationship had hit a horrendous middle when the movie came out on DVD, which I stopped watching halfway through. I wasn't able to enjoy them during that relationship, and I carried that baggage with any mention of them for almost a decade. I'm now reformed and love the prequels thanks to the Star Wars ring theory and a better understanding of the visual and cinematic influences that informed the saga," unquote. So he was an utter dick because he was in a horrible relationship.
You know what? That makes sense.
No, I read one of those. I think I read the first one. Don't quote me on the details, but what came down to is he quit being a troll because when he decided he didn't. God damn it, words.
Yeah, those are hard.
Yeah. Basically, what he kind of said, he had a massive fallout for being a troll that just followed him for years. And he's like, I want out. I'm done. Go away. He had to end up making like half a dozen different accounts just to escape it.
Interesting, because that's how I feel about the Star Wars prequels. I'm out. I'm done. Go away. The only other one I'll read here is a longer one called The Anime Hater.
Oh.
Quote, "Back when I was 16, way back in 2001, okay, go fuck you, kid.
Yeah.
I got my first computer with insurance money after my dad passed away. I love attention, so I got involved with acting websites, mostly amateur voice acting stuff. They were boards populated by similar young teens, often younger, who just wanted to voice their favorite anime character. I used the attention I got by being a quick-witted to also be mean, belittling kids I didn't know from around the world for their shitty anime avatars or what have you. If it all sounds petty and small, then rest assured, I agree. I was involved with every bit of message board drama in the community from 2001 to 2007-ish. I was a major member, given moderator status through sheer force of will, and I would then abuse my power to pick on people I thought were idiots. I would fight with the administrator just because I knew it made them mad. After about a decade of being known as an intelligent jerk or a funny asshole, I think there came a confluence of things that made me want to reform. Is that even the word? It sounds so silly, but I mean, I probably really hurt some people's feelings somewhere along the line, and that sucks. The things that made me change were, 1, I was growing older. I was in my early 20s. I wanted to go to college, which my family couldn't afford. I had made lots of true friends via those circles who I'm still friends with today, 15 years later. They knew the real me, an incredibly polite, nice guy who liked to use what was essentially a character online to cut loose and get attention. But I had friends. I was losing interest in voice acting, and was mostly there for the people I liked and to troll those I didn't know. I was frankly too old for that shit. But then, so I was at 16. 2, I knew what I wanted next. I wanted to go to school and become a teacher. I never did a good job of hiding my identity, so I figured if some enterprising student did their due diligence and found my old history, I'd rather them see a good example rather than what I was. I've been a teacher for 2 years now, and no one has found that old stuff, but hopefully I can use it as a teachable moment when it does happen. 3, I didn't like what I was. Intelligent jerk and funny asshole were sentiments from friends. Who the hell wants to be known as a jerk and an asshole? It's not that I no longer enjoyed attention, but with age came the knowledge that I can be intelligent and funny without being an ass jerk. Today I'm still a moderator in name only, at one of those communities. I'm still friends with so many from that place, many of which are professional voice actors now. Now, though, I'm turning 30 and people know me for how I truly am, and no little kids have to cry. I feel better about myself. If I were to die today and someone were to check my internet history, because come on, that's totally what you do to a friend who has just died, then I'd be more than okay with what they saw there today rather than if it had been 15 years earlier. I'm not proud of how I was, but slowly, over time, I think that anyone who is a troll eventually figures out that life under the bridge kinda sucks, unquote.
Too bad it's going to take them a few years to realize this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I figured that out myself a few years ago. I took Neil Sampat as my internet animal, and I feel much better about myself online. I still deal with a bunch of people who are trolls and jerks. Hello, Anime Expo fan page on Facebook. But, you know, I feel much better about myself, at least. I'm not actively trying to start fights. I just try and add information. Now, Jesse, Steve, and I are serious players in Destiny. Mm-hmm. The game is entertaining. I found an interesting image here that I had to share.
Okay.
Because, I don't think you understand. There's nothing about this that is okay. Because it's fan-frickin-tastic. Take a look at this.
Oh, damn. Oh, damn.
I don't understand.
That
Exo Hunter with full Iron Banner regalia.
That's not game footage feed. That's a cosplayer.
Oh, nice.
This is an Italian cosplayer named Fred Props, Props. He has his own Facebook page, and he definitely worked on this for a while. Yeah. How would you like a close-up look at that item he's carrying there, the ghost?
Sure.
Oh no, you don't. Take a look at this, man. He put work into a lot of this stuff. That's a good-looking little item there.
Oh wow, he actually has an LED in there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He has them in the eyes of that exo mask he's wearing too. And if there is any one particular image that I think sums up his whole project there, it's this one. Take a look at the attention he's garnering just standing still.
Yeah.
He looks really good.
You don't know he doesn't have full Iron Banner regalia. He does have the chest piece and the cloak. But I'm pretty sure he's wearing exotic arms, given the skull.
Yeah, he's wearing a version of the Claws of Ankama.
Yep.
So good for him.
God, I'm such a nerd. Holy crap.
Welcome to the club.
Dan Tynan and Yahoo Tech were nice enough to tell you how to stop Windows 10 from spying on you.
It spies, okay.
Well, it's like any other system. It has tracking systems so that it can sell that information to advertisers to tell them what you're looking at and things like that.
Yeah,
Bite
like
me.
Google.
Yeah, they actually tell you how to go private in Windows 10, and it all starts from the settings. As far as in a tablet or touchscreen laptop, you go to the left to call up the Action Center and choose the settings. Or in a traditional desktop or laptop, click the Windows Start button and select Settings. From there, in the Settings menu, you click the Privacy icon. And you can start changing the options. You can turn on or off Advertising ID. It's a unique number that identifies you to advertisers in the Windows app so they can personalize things for you. You can turn on and off smart screen filters, typing and writing tracking, locally relevant content, and the web link titled Manage My Microsoft Advertising and Other Personalization Info. That's good information to have, man.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Stop
nice
sending me shit.
Stop ordering shit. And the last story is also a Yahoo story. It's about stars on YouTube and what they earn. It's kind of surprising to find out both what they earn on a yearly basis and what they keep. It's like there's a notorious YouTuber that most people have heard of at least by now, PewDiePie.
Yeah.
His real name is Felix Kjellberg, and he earned $7.4 million from his YouTube channel last year.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What he kept after everything was said and done is that's what he kept, $7.4 million. His channel earned $10.5 million, but YouTube advertising revenue gets to take 45% off the top of the earnings. So his total revenue of last year was $10.5 million. YouTube's cut was $5.775 million. And after taxes and after YouTube's cut, PewDiePie gets to keep roughly $4 million annually from his channel. Still nothing to sneeze at, but that means that he gets to keep approximately 40% of what his channel brings in every year.
You know, he doesn't have to really work.
Yeah,
he is working.
He gets to play video games.
He's working on his channel because you don't just sit there and bark stuff. You actually have to put in production.
Yeah.
There's also a young lady named Michelle Phan. She's also famous for her YouTube makeup tutorials. According to StatsSheep, it estimates that she'll earn $126,000 in the next 4 months based on her recent history, or $378,000 per year. Of that, she'll get to keep $145,530.
Wow.
So, it's a lesson to be learned. There is money to be made in YouTube, but still, keep in mind that you're going to keep 40 cents on the dollar after everybody takes their pieces out.
Well, it's all a matter of, if people find you interesting and or relevant.
Yeah,
if you
which
can't
apparently
entertain
is not
them,
does.
yeah, if you can't entertain them, don't give up your day job.
Yeah, look at it this way. That means we'll never have to worry about it then. It's not like we're earning money. Do. From here, we'll move on to our What the Fuck corner. Sometimes we just got to finish up with those stories that make us curious how life has gotten this far on this planet. First up is kind of a bad one. Copyright trolls are getting kind of pissy over pixels.
Oh, I saw this.
Vimeo actually went through, and it seems like they just started blanketing. They did a blanket copyright infringement filing against any videos that had the words pixels in them in reference to the 2015 movie. Except some of the stuff they got to were videos that were created back in 2011, including one called Pantone Pixels. It was an independent art project.
Yep.
Had nothing to do with the movie at all, but they still end up under this copyright infringement blanket.
That's lame.
Yeah.
It gets so lame that they even included the Pixels official trailer in that list. They actually removed the official trailer to Pixels in part of the blanket. Now, to its credit, Vimeo's gotten several complaints about this, and they say they're looking into the problem and they may adjust it shortly. However, I would say that if you're going to do a blanket copyright infringement regarding pixels, put Pantone pixels back. Keep the Pixels trailer offline. We don't need to see that anymore.
There's
next up,
so many things wrong with that.
Yeah. Next up in our What the Fuck corner is that lately we've been getting some interesting videos about video game glitches. Lately, Batman Arkham Knight has been all over it. It is just full of problems. I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have no Batman Arkham Knight glitches this week, which is something relatively new. I only have one video that's a video game glitch. This one actually comes from The Witcher 3.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to do with the title character. It actually has to do with an NPC that appears to have a serious problem or serious fetish, depending on how you look at it.
Oh, God, no.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm sorry, I sent the video. You see the lead character, he's not doing anything. See just above his shoulder there?
Yeah.
That guy is really enjoying that column. Hey, baby, let me stir your drink from here.
It's just the fact that he's staring right at the character.
God, I love mahogany. And he just doesn't stop. He's got his hands on his hips like he is really showing off that grind.
Really gotta love wood.
And it's almost creepy, not just because he's staring at the character, but the way the camera is placed. It looks like he's staring right down the screen like, you see what I'm doing? We're making eye contact and we're not unlocking. I'll see you later in the stables.
That's just a very bad pathing glitch.
You ain't kidding.
Or it could be the most fortuitous glitch ever, but we'll see. Now, V, you and I watch Game of Thrones.
Yep.
Okay? And this story has to do with that. But believe it or not, it's because all this starts in Staten Island, which, really, if you've ever been to Staten Island, it's a lot like being in King's Landing. There's a lot of people out there who will kill you quickly, quietly, and not leave a body for anyone to find.
Good to know.
There is a lawyer, Richard Luthman, okay? He has been accused of committing fraud. He's an attorney that's been accused of aiding a client in committing fraud, okay?
Okay.
So, he's been accused, he's been arraigned, and, they're getting ready to go to trial on the case. Well, Richard Luthman is taking an interesting way to go through trial. He's demanded trial by combat.
Really?
I shit you not.
Oh my god, that's amazing!
He filed a response that says, quote, defendant invokes the common law writ of right and demands his common law right to trial by combat as against plaintiffs and their counsel, whom plaintiff wishes to implead into the trial by combat by writ of right, unquote.
I'm assuming that this isn't actually legal. But
actually, it's a gray area because no U.S. court has ever explicitly outlawed the practice of trial by combat. He added that into his writ. Quote, since 1776, no American court in post-independence United States, to the undersigned's knowledge, has addressed this issue, and thus the trial by combat remains a right reserved to the people and a valid alternative to civil action, unquote.
Oh my god!
There's a lawyer.
We know what's going to happen after this.
Are you kidding, man? That'd be completely different if every time you go to New York court, you say, Your Honor, I would like to sue the defendant, and all of a sudden the other lawyer just drops a sword onto the table. Go ahead. Come on.
Never mind. I withdraw.
Your Honor, the plaintiff would like to lower his request to a new pair of pants.
Before you know it, lawyers will be trained in close quarter combat.
Oh my god.
Wouldn't that be something?
I want to see
this.
this.
That's an anime right there.
I want to see this.
You don't hire your lawyer because of his legal acumen. You hire him by weight class.
Oh, they need to make an anime out of that. Holy crap.
It doesn't have to be an anime.
Wouldn't that be a new version of Ace Attorney? Your Honor, I object, and I'm going to run him through with my spear. Okay, Jesse, you're Korean.
Yeah.
How much do you know about Korean hair trends?
0.
Okay.
I know maybe 5 words of Korean.
Donde es la baño?
No, 3 of them are curse words.
Oh. So they're Christian words. Okay.
No.
No, there's a new Korean hair trend that is slightly interesting, but mostly disturbing to me because I no secret, I'm a guy, which means if you put shiny things in your face like facial piercings, that's where my eyes go. So women who talk to me don't have to be worried about me staring at their breasts because I'm too busy staring at the nose ring, right? This would be just about as distracting. The newest hair trend is turning Korean women's bangs into hearts.
I think I saw something like this.
I kid you not. They twist a couple of their bangs together so they turn to upside-down hearts on their foreheads. I sent you the link so you could take a look at a few images.
Yeah?
And
I don't know if that's creepy or cute.
There's several things about it. It is both creepy and cute, number one. Number two, if your bangs are long enough, it looks like you have the weirdest unibrow in the world. And number three, if you have a professional assassin chasing you, he now knows where to put the perfect knockout bullet.
I get a weird sense of antennae when I look at this, actually.
Yeah.
I can see that.
There's several things about this that are superbly distracting to me. This is another case where I would have trouble communicating with a woman because instead of my eyes trailing down to the shiny, now they're trailing up to that weird thing you're doing with your forehead.
The next thing you know, they start putting something in the middle of that, heart on their forehead.
Apparently, even some men, I don't know if they're doing it seriously, but they're even playing around with this practice. I'll say no.
No.
I ain't doing it.
Thank goodness, V, because I'd like to be able to look in your eyes when I talk to you. It's very calming.
Disconcerting?
No, it's very calming to look in your eyes when I talk to you because then I know for sure whether or not you're plotting my destruction. But unfortunately, that's something we can work out very plainly. All of us are saying no to heart bangs.
Yes.
And I appreciate that when we all agree, because disagreements can prove very disconcerting. Such as Columbus, Ohio, earlier this week.
Well, what did they do?
Well, a 26-year-old man named Eugene Walker was shot 4 times in a dispute over a video game. Nobody has said what particular game they were playing, but apparently Walker and a friend of his were playing a video game in the same room around 10 p.m. on Wednesday night. Things got heated. And according to News 10 TV reporting, Walker was shot 4 times after his friend came back in the room. They say he was struck first in the shoulder, then the abdomen, then the forearm, and then in the ass.
Stop kill stealing, you asshole.
Oh, kill steal you, pop, pop, pop. They're only identifying the suspect, the shooter friend, who is now only known as Nick, at 19 years old. Nick! I'm sure he got that name while shaving. Fortunately, Mr. Walker is expected to make a full recovery. However, the next time he tells that story, remember when I was playing that game and got shot in the ass? We'll have a much different context than when most of his friends tell that story. In the same vein as video games, did you guys hear about the Twitch streamer Trick2G?
No.
Don't think so.
Okay. He put on a 24-hour event this past Saturday to commemorate the fact that he has 800,000 followers on Twitch. That's a hell of an echelon to reach in this day and age, okay?
Yeah.
And the stream ended very interestingly because he got swatted.
Oh.
Now, for those who don't know, the practice of swatting is when people call in a fake emergency to a location, which causes the police to respond extremely, usually thinking that there's an active hostage or shooting situation. So the SWAT team goes in and tends to handcuff everybody until they figure out what the hell's going on. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the end of the show went. He was taken down by a couple officers and put in handcuffs. It came out after the show that the swatting was fake.
Really?
Yeah, apparently this was a plan between Trick2G and the producer of his Twitch show, and they faked his swatting. Okay?
Why? Just for attention?
I guess.
According to according to Trick2G's website manager, Cher Gambino, they called it an extreme fake ending for an extremely entertaining show. Quote, Trick is an entertainer, and that's just how he is. He streams 12 to 14 hours a day and brings constant laughter throughout each and every stream. Now, I know some of you are saying, Cher, it's not funny to make a joke about being swatted. There's always someone that thinks that only their sense of humor is what matters, and if they don't think it's funny, then it couldn't possibly be. That's why our country is in the shape it is now, because we fear making light of anything that might be thought of as controversial, unquote.
I agree.
I concur.
She ended with a statement saying that taking the ending of the stream seriously was absurd. Now, I agree with the fact that some people need to take things a little more lightly. However, unless you let people in on the joke with a wink and a nod, that's fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Because they didn't end the show by picking him up and saying, these are my friends. They ended the show with a fake swatting and then signed off. And swatting, some people may find that funny depending on who it happens to. Like, there's some stars they don't like. You know, if it happened to Bieber, I'm sure I'd chuckle a couple times.
Yeah.
I will add a caveat, though, that it's not proper to laugh at that because that's horrifying. You have highly trained officers coming in hot in a situation, willing to pull the trigger on you if you do anything out of line.
Yeah.
And I will say that the manager of the show saying that people's feelings are absurd needs to read further into her own statement, because she said, and again, quote, there's always someone that thinks only their sense of humor is what matters, unquote. Under that line of thinking, neither does hers. Just because she thinks it's funny and proper doesn't mean that a lot of people are going to.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I to be honest, I don't find an on response funny.
Yeah. And in this case, I like humor and everything, but like I said, if this didn't end with a wink and a nod and an obvious joke, they explained it because the person that played one of the cops was apparently loading some stuff, was seen on screen, like putting some stuff in the background at 3 o'clock, which sounds good. However, what happens to the people that signed in like an hour later and didn't see that guy? All they saw was this cop they didn't know come in and tackle Trick2G. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sorry, the ending was scheduled for 3 p.m. But again, if somebody just tuned in at the ending, all they saw was a swatting. Unless this guy was on screen constantly, they're not going to know this is fake. And in response to this whole issue and the controversy surrounding it, Twitch has issued a temporary ban to Trick2G, and they haven't said when exactly they plan on lifting it.
Ooh. Oh,
that's
damn.
rough.
Yeah.
It is rough. You got to 800,000 followers. But again, that's one of those responsibilities you have. When you're a small indie show, yeah, you can get away with some extreme stuff trying to gather attention. When you're a larger show that has a fan base of the approximate like cable access TV show, you really need to think about what the frick you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, there is at some point where you stop being a little funny independent show and you actually have responsibility about what you do. And at 800,000 followers, I think you passed that.
Agreed.
But apparently Cher Gambino says that they plan on taking Trick2G's show during the time he's banned from Twitch and taking it to another stream site. Miss Gambino, if you're going to do that, seriously, frickin' think about what you're going to do next time. Frickin' A, man. We talked before about the Fantastic Four film, but this ended up in the what the fuck section instead of Marvel because of one particular thing.
Okay.
What phrase is the Thing famous for, Jesse?
Clobbering time.
It's clobbering time, yeah. According to one Twitter user, Matthew Buck, you know where it's clobbering time came from in the movie?
Where?
During the scenes of Ben Grimm's childhood, it's what his abusive brother used to say before he slapped him around.
Okay.
They took the things...
Almost interesting.
Right, they took the Fantastic Four Things battle cry, it's clobbering time, and turned it into what his brother would yell just before sibling abuse.
He's never going to make that battle cry. Now with that backstory.
Well, it seems like nobody's watching the movie anyway, so maybe nobody will find out about it. Rob Bricken on IO9 wrote the story, and he said, literally, the only way I can think DC could match it is if they decide to have Alfred sexually abuse Bruce Wayne when he was a boy, which I have to imagine even Zack Snyder would go, maybe that's a little bit much. That's a bad choice. Also, in our What the Fuck corner, there's a hidden insult in a Spider-Man comic, and it got the inker fired. There was a story back in Marvel called Universe X. It was supposed to be Marvel Comics' version of Kingdom Come, a far future storyline that doesn't necessarily hold with continuity, right?
Mm-hmm.
In one page, where the current version of, I think it's Spider-Girl, I can't remember, the current version of Venom, which was Spider-Man's daughter, covered in the Venom symbiote, comes crashing through the window. And
Was that the M2 series?
No, this is Universe X.
Okay.
Or Earth. This is, Universe X, which is a compendium of Earth X. Anyway, the two of them start fighting in the living room, and as they're bashing around, there is a group of books in a bookcase behind them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And if you turn the comic book on its side and start reading down the books, it actually says in it, quote, Harris, haha, he's gone. Good riddance to bad rubbish. He was a nasty SOB. Unquote. That's written in the spines of the books. Now, this was apparently in reference to the recently fired editor-in-chief of Marvel at the time, Bob Harris. When this issue became public, Marvel began issuing edited copies to erase that message and then fired the inker.
Wow.
That was a bad move on that guy's part. Was he trying to get fired?
I don't think he was trying, otherwise he wouldn't have made it so small. The inker in question was a guy named Milgram. Al Milgram. Milgrom. And as much as I can say he was glad to see an apparently abusive boss, I mean, the guy got fired as editor-in-chief. He must have done something horrible, right? But to seed a message like that into a very public forum, especially a product that you're trying to sell to other people, that's a stupid move.
Yeah.
Very stupid. So, as much as I don't like people losing their jobs, can't say it's unearned. Now, I had to put this in What the Fuck, and this is the most joyous What the Fuck I have come into in a long time. Are you guys familiar with the Rockin' 1000?
No.
Are you familiar with the Italian city of Cesena?
No.
Don't think so.
Okay, you are going to love this story. There's an Italian man named Fabio Zaffagini. He runs an up-and-coming company that films street-level views of walks through the trails in Italy, okay? He's also a massive Foo Fighters fan, and the band has played Italy a couple times, and I think Rome, but they've never come to the northern section of Italy or anywhere near Cesena, right?
Okay.
So what he did was he started a viral campaign. He got 1,000 musicians of varying age to come to Cesena on their own dime and play as a group, 1,000 musicians, singers, bassists, drummers, guitarists, to play the Foo Fighters' Learn to Fly.
Oh, that's awesome.
He filmed it and put it on YouTube, and within 4 days, it had over 18 million views.
I wonder what the Foo Fighters think about that.
Do you want the video first, or do you want the response?
Video.
I saw this, and I am one of those guys that's, unless I'm in a social situation, I'm vaguely, non-emotional. I try and think about everything before I do it. This brought a tear to my eye. I sent the video.
Holy shit.
Now, there is one central band that's mic'd up primarily, but obviously you can't stop the mics from picking up everything going on here.
That's a lot of coordinated sound.
Listen to the way these people are singing, though, like a chorus. It's giving me chills.
Yeah!
Yeah, I love this.
And unlike most YouTube personalities and videos, this isn't about people's screw-ups. This isn't about, like, video game playing. This is just 1,000 people probably having one of the best times of their lives.
Oh my god, yeah, this looks amazing. It looks... Look at that guy.
They hired a professional...
headband.
Yeah, they hired a professional film crew to film it, and I'd say it's well-earned. It's amazing.
You know what? Surprisingly, I've got the same feeling at Brony conventions when the fans have burst into songs from the show, to be honest.
But I mean, this is 1,000 people, and this is a reminder, these are Italian individuals singing this American song with just awesome harmony and feeling. And you can see how far the age range goes here, too. If you watch this video and keep an eye open, you'll even see some kids playing the drums and the bass. The fat drummer and the mohawk drummer, though, definitely stick out. That guy.
Yeah.
If I saw more choruses like this on church, I might be a more religious person than I am.
They have a professional recording of this, correct?
Are you kidding, dude? I'd run this through an MP3 ripper and put it on my own systems.
Yeah, shit, I want this. Seriously.
Yeah, this is awesome. I mean, Learn to Fly is one of the better...
It's a simple but intense rock anthem.
It's uplifting, which isn't something terribly common with rock. It's usually more angsty.
You notice how prepared the drummers are, though? Half of them are wearing earphones. Actually, those won't be earphones, those would be mufflers. If I was standing there watching this, like, live, I swear to God I would cry.
No, you'd be also be moving to the beat. Oh, there's a kid. Holy crap.
I told you, that there are kids in this crowd playing this music.
Damn.
You see the lights on the conductor's stage. That's probably where they're getting their cues from for tempo changes.
Yeah,
imagine that legion of drummers playing on a truck or something as like they're walking a caravan of warriors into battle. People will freaking pee themselves.
Your response to angsty rock, I actually went through my collection and stuff and realized, like, okay, I listened to all of the songs I have, and I realized, okay, I'm deleting this is depressing, this is depressing.
Yeah. Like, if you listen to the lyrics on, like, half the things, at least, it's...
I got rid of 45 and Behind Blue Eyes.
And this is the guy that organized it.
That this video is going to be seen by a huge amount of people all over the world.
He's not kidding.
But to be true, it's been conceived.
This video came out on July 30th. It has been 9 days since it came out. 21 million views.
And Dave Grohl, the Foo Fighters. You know, Italy is a country where dreams cannot easily come true, but it's a land of passion and creativity. So what we did in here is just a huge miracle. I've been working on this fucking project for more than 1 year, waking up every
His English is pretty good.
Thinking about how to make it real. And this is all that we got. 1,000 people, 1,000 rockers that came from all over the nation at their own expenses. And they just did for one song, your song. So our call is to ask you, the Foo Fighters, to come and play for us. Come and play here, give a concert to all of us in Cesena.
You okay?
So,
yeah.
Right now to all the people around me to just make some noise for the Foo Fighters. Come on. Come on, guys.
Yeah, 21 million views. They had to have seen this by now.
Well, believe it or not, like I said, this video was released on July 30th. And by August 2nd, they had a response.
And?
Now I'm going to wait for you to cry that out first.
I'm done.
Well, Dave Grohl himself was on a cell phone video. He responded in broken Italian. He called the video beautiful. He thanked them for their appreciation. And he said he promised they are coming.
Aww.
And in an official statement that came out in the middle of this week, they have booked themselves to go out to Cesena to play a concert. They have not set a date yet, but they're working on finding the venue right now.
That's awesome.
Oh God, look at the list.
They credited everybody that came.
Yeah, holy crap.
And in typical rock fashion, there's twice as many drummers as there are bassists. I will say, though, that with over 21 million views, they probably wouldn't have to ask the Foo Fighters to come out anymore. There should be enough money in the coffer where they can pay them to come the frick out. So, I gotta give credit to the guy. He did it. He had a goal, he realized it, he put in some of his own money, and they went off in ways they couldn't imagine. So, congratulations to him and all of them. I hope, frankly, for what they did, they get comp tickets.
Agreed.
The last story I have for our news and for our WTF corner is a list put together by the IO9 video crew from io9.com. They have the 50 most cringeworthy moments in comic book movie history.
Oh God, bat nipples on that list.
Well, fortunately, most of it is video, and all they do is they list it out. There's no blurbs here, so we can actually go through all 50 if you want. Not videos and everything, but just the list.
Bring the horror.
Okay, and I don't think it's in any particular order. It's just 50 very horrible moments in comic book movies. Number 1, Batman and Robin, the Bat credit card.
Yeah, that was cringeworthy.
Yep.
I don't remember that. Well, I haven't seen it, but...
George Clooney as Batman was, for some reason, at a charity auction and actually whipped out a Bat credit card to buy something.
Yeah, that was
Poison Ivy, I think.
As Poison Ivy, and Arnold Schwarzenegger as miscasted as Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, so he was buying a hooker. Let's see. Item number 2, X-Men. Storm asks Toad if he knows what happens to a toad that's struck by lightning.
Yeah,
that was a horrible group of lines.
Yeah, it was.
Item number 3, Superman 2. Superman throws his S-shield. Remember the cellophane S?
Yeah.
Item number 4, Judge Dredd. The Sylvester Stallone one. His awful delivery of I am the law plus the whole taking off his helmet thing. Have you ever seen that movie?
I have not.
Yeah, I have.
The way he delivers the line of I am the law is just so horrible. It actually has a YouTube attached to it. It's only about a minute.
Sure. I'll see it.
Too late. She said yes. I sent it. And I liked this movie for the most part when I was younger. But I got to agree that the way he delivers this line does not hold up well.
Yeah, no, I was entertained by this film.
It was, the sections of it where he was in the city judging went very well. The sections where they went to the cursed earth, that sucked. The exploding city street. That's very 90s music.
Yeah, it is.
90s special effects, too.
And the way the character looked in
aren't bad.
For a post-apocalyptic future, there's a lot of clean equipment.
Well, they built large cities back then. This is not just post-apocalypse. This is way post-apocalypse. It's been an apocalypse and they rebuilt. Look at the armor, though. The humongous things.
Oh, good lord.
Look at that face with that jawline. Shoot me in the codpiece, I dare you.
God.
Here it comes. As if you forgot.
Yeah, this guy is terrible. Is this a named actor?
It's Stallone.
That's Stallone. That's Dredd. And he's putting periods in the wrong places in his sentences.
Right?
You want to be afraid of somebody? Be afraid of me.
Well, both of your acting is terrible, so I'm suitably afraid of both of you.
Oh, God, I'm just listening to the dialogue, and it's like, oh, God. That's so bad. And they fucking hero pose.
Yeah. Item number 5 on the list of IO9's 50 most cringeworthy moments from comic book movies is from Catwoman, the infamous basketball scene.
I have not seen that movie.
I didn't see it either, but I watched the YouTube associated with it. It's amazing, dude. Kids actually challenge Catwoman and her cop friend. Don't know they're costumed or anything, just kids challenging 2 full-blown adults to a 2-on-2 contest for no reason whatsoever. And then when they start doing these complicated basketball tricks, the kids still want to challenge them. There's no logic to this film.
I didn't understand the basketball scene. I think I purged that from my memory because it was just so nonsensical.
That was supposed to be for time.
No. That was supposed to be the 2 characters like playfully flirting with each other. Like anybody playfully flirts over basketball. Item number 6 is from The Dark Knight Rises. We learned John Blake's real first name. That was an Easter egg I didn't need.
John Blake?
Yeah, remember his first real name is Robin?
Right. Okay.
Yep. Item number 7 from Avengers Age of Ultron. Bruce faceplants into Natasha's breasts in a move straight out of the shittiest sort of harem anime.
Wait, where? From which?
From Avengers Age of Ultron, when Bruce Banner accidentally faceplants into Natasha's breasts. Yeah, I'd say that regardless of whether you're watching it or whether you're doing it, I think that's a moment where you yell bonus. You don't have to pay me for this movie. I got my payment. I'm fine.
I don't remember that. Maybe I wasn't paying attention at the time.
I don't remember that either, but I don't have any problem with that, like, in concept.
Neither do I. That's one of those things I disagree with the list. I'm okay with it. I do agree with item number 8, though, from the movie Steel. Pretty much any scene where he runs around in that god-awful costume.
You mean the entire movie?
Most of it. Any moment where he's dressed up as Steel, they listed as awful.
Or when he tried to make a free throw?
I don't know. That's most of his career. Item number 9, the inexplicable omelet dancing scene from Spider-Man 3. I had to watch that again. Yeah, I wasn't sure what they were talking about. It turns out it's where Kirsten Dunst and James Franco as their characters are trying to make breakfast and dancing during it for some reason. They do the twist.
I don't remember that.
I didn't either, and after watching the scene again on YouTube, I'm sure I remember why I don't remember it now.
Please don't share. I don't want to remember it.
No, I'm ejecting that.
I'm gonna have to see that.
Item number 10 from Man of Steel. Superman asks a random priest for advice. I don't remember that either, but there's probably a good reason behind that.
Oh, no, I remember that one.
I actually remember item number 11 much better, from Howard the Duck. Duck boobs.
Yeah. Yeah,
that I saw that when I was a kid. That was interesting, yet sexually confusing. Item number 12 is from Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer. Reed Richards' dance scene. That was terrible.
I thought him getting pancaked by the Thing was pretty bad, too.
That was up there for sure. Item number 13 is from the Daredevil film, and God, this is burned in my brain and I can't get it out. The terrible schoolyard fight scene.
One of the few things I do remember from that.
Yeah, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner flirting while fighting with each other in a kid's playground, while kids are in it. It's almost as bad as playing basketball in front of them. Item number 14 I do remember, and it's horrible. From Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. The wall rebuilding vision.
Huh?
There were a couple scenes where the nuclear man in that movie destroyed sections of the Great Wall of China. After Superman got rid of the nuclear man, he flew down to China, used his laser vision, which somehow rebuilt the Great Wall.
I thought which Superman was it where he rotated the Earth backwards to turn back time?
That was the first one.
Okay.
And V, trust me, it doesn't make any more sense than I just explained it.
Okay.
He just used lasers from his eyes, and all you see are, like, bricks just stop motioning back into place. It's really bizarre. Item number 15 is from Guardians of the Galaxy. when Drax calls Gamora a whore.
I thought that was funny.
I thought that was hilarious.
I thought, yeah. What was wrong with that?
If there's any woman you do not call a whore, that's it, and that's what made it funny. Item number 16 is from Batman Forever. The line where Val Kilmer says, "It's the car, right?" I thought that was funny. I thought that was Val Kilmer's sense of humor. It's always been about dry delivery. Item number 17 is from Blade Trinity. Quote, "You made a goddamn vampire Pomeranian?" Unquote.
Oh.
Plus
What's a
everything.
Pomeranian again?
It's a small, fluffy dog.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't shut up.
Yeah, and IO9 added plus everything involving Dracula. Item number 18 from The Watchmen. Night Owl and Silk Spectre have sex in the owl ship to Leonard Cohen.
So that was the music that was playing?
I have no idea. I've never been able to finish the movie. Item number 19 from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Shredder pops out knives, and then knives pop out of the knives.
Damn you, Michael Bay.
Item number 20 from the original, from the Sony Spider-Man film. The campy gang of thugs that surround Mary Jane. They were a little weird. I don't know about cringeworthy, though. Item number 21 was very cringeworthy. From the Green Lantern, Hector Hammond sees Carol Ferris at a party and sniffs her hair.
Does she notice the sniffing?
Yes, she does.
Okay.
I don't remember much out of that film besides that awful uniform.
I unfortunately remember a lot because my wife would turn it on every time it came on FX and start laughing hysterically.
I'm sorry.
She found it hilarious. Item number 22 from Superman Returns. Superman spies on Lois Lane using his superpowers. I don't know if that's cringeworthy, but it's high on creepy. Item number 23 is from a movie I have not seen yet and probably ought to. From The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Electro plays Itsy Bitsy Spider by whacking Spider-Man into the electrical grid.
I thought that was great. What are they talking about?
I don't remember that.
I watched it on YouTube, and I thought that was really super villainy. I thought it was great taunting.
Yeah, how is that terrible? They're wrong.
I know that a lot of critics and fans didn't like the movie, but that scene by itself on YouTube, that was scary. I do agree with item number 24. X-Men Origins Wolverine. Stryker shoots Wolverine in the head to erase his memories.
Oh.
Item number 25, I'm not familiar with. Men in Black 3, Emma Thompson's funeral speech. Anybody?
I haven't seen Men in Black 3.
Okay.
I have. I don't remember that part.
Okay, item number 26, totally agree. Spider-Man 3, the jazz dance sequence. Dancing Peter Parker?
The emo bit with...
He wasn't emo. He got the black symbiote. He turned into clothes and started dancing him... he bought a new set of clothes and started dancing himself through the streets of New York. You know, like most supervillains would do. Item number 27 from Batman Returns with Michael Keaton. Batman has his own Bat CD player that lets him scratch a CD back and forth like a vinyl record. I don't know. At the time, I thought it was funny. Item number 28 from Ang Lee's Hulk. The Hulk punches a gamma-mutated poodle in the junk.
Yeah, that's cringeworthy.
Item number 29 from the first Superman movie. Superman flies Lois Lane through the air and she recites a tone poem. Can you read my mind? Item number 30. I'm on the fence about. It's from the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. The moment where Sean Connery says God save the Queen or the whole ending. I'm going to disagree with that. That moment early on where people are... the God Save the Queen. You know, that was after he was attacked at the hunting lodge in Africa.
Uh-huh.
You know, he just tossed a British flag down on one of the... No, he impaled one of them and a British flag fell over his head and he just said, God Save the Queen, kind of dryly. I was okay with that.
Yeah, I don't remember that being an offensive segment.
Well, the cringeworthy is their statement. These are the 50 most cringeworthy moments in comic book movies, according to IO9. I'm going to disagree with that one. Item number 31, I also disagree with vehemently. Avengers Age of Ultron, Tony Stark jokes about droid to senor.
What?
It's one of the things he mutters while trying to pick up Thor's hammer.
I didn't catch that.
The scene post-party where they're trying to pick up Thor's hammer, he starts muttering a few things.
What does he mutter? Like, what's the reference there?
I don't remember specifically, but I found the whole sequence where they're trying to pick up that hammer hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. That was awesome.
Item
Especially
number 30.
when Cap moved it.
Yeah. Item number 32.
Just a little bit.
Item number 32, I wholeheartedly agree with. From X-Men The Last Stand, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Oh,
What?
God. That almost made me walk out of the theater.
Really? Because I thought that was funny based on the video about that.
Yeah, I despise the fact that they even tried to work that in.
Yeah. I didn't find it funny at all. Either reference.
From Superman 3, item number 33 is the walk and don't walk traffic icons come to life and fight each other because of Richard Pryor's supercomputer.
Okay.
Wow, I really don't remember that.
Me either.
Okay, item number 34 I'm going to disagree with too. From the movie Spawn, just pick a John Leguizamo moment, basically. I liked him as the clown. Item number 35 I'm on the fence about, from the movie The Mask, the scene where they dance to Cuban Pete.
That was funny.
Yeah, I appreciate that for what it was.
Yeah. It's
Item
supposed
number
to be silly.
Yeah, item number 36, though, I'm back on board with the listers. From Spider-Man 2, Mary Jane kisses ex-astronaut John Jameson, who says, I'm back on the moon. Are you there with me?
In response to her kissing you?
Cheesy
Yes.
pickup lines.
Yeah. When a woman kisses you, it's not a time to roleplay. Okay, I'm in 40 pounds of astronaut equipment. Let me try and get it off. Okay, item number 37, they lost me. From the movie The Crow, the Brandon Lee puts on his makeup while listening to the Cure scene. This is the moment where
that.
That's the scene where he comes back to life and he actually starts putting on the accoutrement of the Crow. You know, I disagree with that one. Item number 38 from the movie Jonah Hex. Megan Fox decides on a numerical order for all of Jonah's scars.
Haven't seen that movie either.
I tried to watch it, and I didn't... The reason why I stopped watching it was because I got a telephone call that lasted an hour and a half. I basically spent the whole movie on the phone because somebody called. Item number 39 from Man of Steel. Pa Kent tells Clark he should have let a school bus full of kids drown. Okay, that wasn't cringeworthy, but that was really bizarre and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Item number 40 from Batman and Robin. The sequence showing close-ups of the awful costumes. Okay, there's bat nipples.
Yep.
Item number 24 from the movie Supergirl. The construction vehicle comes to life scene.
I don't remember that.
I think it was like an industrial-grade forklift that she slowly fights as it crawls down the street.
I don't remember that.
It wasn't great. Item number 42 from Superman 2. Superman's memory-erasing kiss. Again, I don't know about...
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't know,
Well, I don't remember that directly, but...
I was too young to really think about that.
I wouldn't say it's cringeworthy, but it is really freaking confusing. Item number 43 from the 1989 Tim Burton Batman film. The extended Party Man dance sequence has not aged well. I'd have to watch that. Jack Nicholson is in this weird artistic garb as the Joker, and he has his thugs run around a museum, like, defacing the place.
Right, now I remember this.
Ahead of a date. I'd have to look and see.
No, I do. It's like, I think that's supposed to lend toward how insane his character is.
I understand that, but there are some times when things don't age well. And I'd have to go back and look.
I would have to watch that. Yeah.
Yeah. Item number 44, I'm back on board. From X-Men Origins Wolverine, they sewed Deadpool's mouth shut, and he looks ridiculous.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm also with item number 45, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Splinter learned to be a ninja from a book he found in the garbage.
I got so many issues with that movie.
I watched that movie, and that's absolutely true. He supposedly learned to be a ninja from a secondhand book he found in a sewer.
Yep.
Item number 46, we're back to Catwoman. The scene where she goes to a fancy bar in her ridiculous costume and orders cream.
That was stupid. That whole movie was stupid.
Yeah,
I'm glad I didn't watch it.
They had a YouTube link to it, so I sat down and watched it to figure out what they were talking about, and oh god, I nearly removed one of my eyes. I nearly took one of my eyes with a spoon. I nearly had a Nick Fury cosplay going on. Item number 47 from the movie The Punisher with Thomas Jane. Frank fights the Russian while the neighbors are getting their opera on. I don't know if it's cringeworthy.
No.
It was a little long. Item number 48 I do agree about, and it's from a movie I like. From X-Men First Class, Havoc's Hula Hoops.
He has hula hoops?
I didn't think much about... Oh, wait.
The scene where he's in the courtyard getting ready to show off his powers, and then he starts gyrating before releasing these weird hoops of energy on the statue.
Mm-hmm.
It was really weird.
Yeah, I'll admit it was weird. I didn't think it was cringeworthy. I just thought it was aesthetic to display the power.
Okay, well, item number 49 was definitively cringeworthy from Batman and Robin, the What Killed the Dinosaur scene. You remember that one?
I don't. Well, I haven't.
The scene or the line?
It's Chris O'Donnell and George Clooney in Batman and Robin costumes standing in front of Mr. Freeze, who just walks up to them with his gigantic cannon and says, "Do you know what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!" And then he starts shooting ice everywhere. It frickin' hurt.
Both.
And
Again,
last,
horribly miscast.
Yeah. Last item here is from item number 50 from Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Pretty much the entire fight scene with the nuclear man. And, God, that was a horrible fight scene. The nuclear man, grew these golden granny claws and started scratching at him, and it was... Oh, God.
Apparently you need to see a lot of really bad movies.
Apparently I saw a lot of bad movies, and I tried really hard not to subject you guys to it. Okay, so we're up to our topic of the week. Convergence, the first 4 issues of DC's summer event from 2015, where it brought back the continuities of all prior versions of the DC Universe up to the Crisis on Infinite Earth, which I think was back in 1986. Now, the synopsis
does DC have to be so melodramatic?
The synopsis, as I understand it, are that just about every universe that DC has known has collapsed, and there are cities representing each of the universes that, for reasons that are a bit beyond me, seem to have the majority of the rosters of superheroes from all of these planets, regardless of what city it is. They've all been gathered by Brainiac's guardian system of Telos, a living planet, to the planet, and it's decided that it's time to make the cities fight to determine which one will be the basis of a new universe. Do I have that correct?
Yeah, that seemed to be what was going on, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is one of those things where, yes, there are a lot of tie-in issues telling the individual stories, but the Convergence miniseries that we read is the main story that seems to follow the remaining heroes of Earth 2, which has no representative city from some glitch. And they're trying to stop Telos from having this winner-take-all tournament of cities. It's not good versus evil so much as which universe survives. And I gotta admit, from the first 4 issues, there's not a lot of story.
Yeah, it's just mostly
there's
a bunch
lot of
fighting and dialogue, and a lot of Batman.
I'll admit, I wasn't bored with it, but dude, it just, where's it going?
I'm not entirely sure myself. Obviously, the event is over. We know that what the outcome was, but I was never very clear on what the story is. And I must admit, from reading it, I'm still not very clear what the story is, other than this grand fight. And while the fight is going... One of the main frustrations I have is that this sounds important on its face, okay? You've got a bunch of different universes vying for their survival, and they represent a whole lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to guess that whichever city wins, that universe is going to be put back in its entirety. However, the gravitas of such a situation where you're deciding on not just the billions of people on planet Earth, but the uncountable civilizations in any given comic book universe being restored. Nobody seems to be dealing with the idea of what happens to the universes that die or remain dead. It seems like everybody is way too eager to just start smashing heads in this story. Anybody else get that?
Yeah, I can see
No,
that.
some of the realities thought about taking on Talos himself or abstaining from the fighting in general, and Talos said,
Well, yeah,
"No,
like
you're all going to
Krypton.
fight." But
there was really no weight
I
lended. There was no weight lended to any of that, though. The ones that abstained or refused to fight that were dealt with so quickly and so cleanly, there wasn't even a sense of brutality. It was just kind of a sense of, well, you're not fighting, fine, you're erased, bye.
Yeah, no, my biggest problem is the reason behind the idea of the convergence.
Remind me what that is, because I'm blanking on that.
Well, it seems like at random, Talos decided to have a contest between the different cities to see who is to find out who is the best.
Right.
At the beginning. I think later on we're supposed to figure out. No, I think he was manipulated into it, given what I read from the 4th issue, but I can't say for sure. I see what plot reason for this is.
Now, I'm not sure because I haven't read the second half. I may go back and read it. I haven't decided yet. My understanding, though, is that Brainiac, even though he's the one that created the system and was collecting these cities, he wasn't the one that started this whole thing.
Seems like he was being manipulated or programmed or something.
Actually, from what few synopses I've read in the last few months, it appears that Telos is the one who captured his creator and then started making decisions on his own under the pretense of working for Brainiac. So that was the grand twist. And it's not a great twist when you consider that every motion here, even though Brainiac is mentioned by name, every decision is being made by Telos. You never get the idea that Brainiac's doing anything.
Yeah. But again, it leads me to asking, why did it start? What was the trigger to begin all of this?
I'm other than a complete universal collapse, I'm really unclear on that myself. Now, the art in it, I don't recall who did it. Let me see if I can look that up real quick. Because the art across the issues is pretty solid.
Yeah.
You know, let me see. The art was done by Carlo Pagulayan. And the art, the art I have no issue with. Everything was grand in scope, at least. You could tell the energy running through it, and they made it visually interesting. I guess one of my primary issues, though, was that the story, if you want to compare it to another event that started around the same time, Marvel's Secret Wars, the Secret Wars was a good drop-in point because they're oddly similar in scope. Both have to do with the destruction of their respective universes and what comes next. Mm-hmm. But instead of where Marvel just kind of eradicated their entire universe and started something completely new that everyone is catching up on at the same time, Convergence really does rely on you to know a lot of DC history going in.
Yeah.
I mean, these Earth 2 heroes, I understand who they represent as a Superman, a Batman, a Flash, and a Green Lantern. I even understand the context of them pre-Flashpoint. However, I really don't know much about these characters in particular.
I had to look up who Dick Grayson was. Like, it wasn't even explained in it.
Dick Grayson was the first Robin?
Yeah.
In the main universe, yeah, but in Earth 2, he never became Robin. He's somebody else. You know, the Earth 2 Batman wasn't even Bruce Wayne, it's Thomas Wayne. They never met.
Who's Thomas Wayne? Like, that was very confusing.
Bruce Wayne's father.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently.
I thought so, but the dialogue was weird about that.
Yeah.
I haven't read Earth 2, but I'm going to guess that the attack in the regular universe that killed Bruce Wayne's parents, in this case, killed the mother and the son, but the father survived.
Yeah.
No, it only killed Bruce Wayne. The mother went insane and became the Joker of that world.
Oh, okay. And see, therein is the problem, because you did the background research to try and find out what happened. I just did the reading of the series itself. Mm-hmm. I was lost on a lot of details that I could have used.
The vague, random research I tend to do made me a little more informed about what the hell is going on, but even still, I find that they're trying something there, but it's not interesting enough to continue. I will continue to see where this finally ends up at, just out of sheer curiosity. But it's not something I could really recommend right now.
You know, I was moderately curious in Val Zod, the Earth 2 Superman, the Black Superman. But the dialogue kind of told his story. He was captured for a long time, so he has this weird pent-up rage, and he's not worried about killing things. Understand that. But the sad part is, out of all the characters of Earth 2, the one I'm the most curious about is the one that's the least visually interesting or has any real story. This weird avatar of the Red.
Yeah, she was... I liked her character the most, but I didn't... Like, the Red power made no sense to me.
I didn't find
Then again, no DC powers make any sense to me.
Well,
I didn't find the character interesting. I found there was something about the execution, though, that was interesting. Maybe it's because, to me, she's a complete unknown commodity. That's the one I wanted the most information on.
Well, to bring V up to speed with the idea of the Red is supposed to be representative of the power invested in living creatures. It's kind of the idea where Beast Boy actually gains his shape-shifting powers, which is why he's red in New 52 instead of green.
More specifically, Animal Man.
Yeah, that too.
I was really disappointed in issue 2. And it wasn't for the majority of it. There were some beats that I liked, but the thing that made me the most upset about issue 2 was they had this interesting moment where Earth 2 Thomas Wayne Batman encountered a different version of his son in another city who was the full-blown Batman, and there was apparently some kind of dialogue there that could have been superbly important, carried weight, could have been emotional, and they told none of it.
Nope, they said, you guys should understand this, moving on. And I'm pretty sure this is at least the world from pre-52, because they had Barbara Gordon as the Oracle in there.
I don't know. This could be some version of Earth of DC I've never seen before, so I'm really unsure what this is.
Yeah.
It irritated me because that could have been the speech beyond speeches that I don't want to say broke the internet, but could have made multiple fanboys across generations cry. It's one of the few things in DC lore that might have been able to turn around my idea of what Batman is, and they had no speech to it, and that was really disappointing.
Yeah, I really didn't like the way they made that all off screen. Plus, that's the particular panel that I was like, why do they have to be so goddamn melodramatic?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, after I was done with issue 2, all of a sudden I was really disinterested in the story of Thomas Wayne Batman and what he did with and everything else going on. I was more interested in Dick Grayson, war correspondent, and how he lost his family. That was sad.
Yeah. And then issue 3, they kind of shifted gears with perspective.
A bit, because that's the issue where I think the Earth 2 Batman made his grand sacrifice. Superman was losing his powers because there was no yellow sun orbiting Telos. They got rid of the bottle city of Kandor, which has almost become I don't want to say a joke, but just kind of a tangential story in most of DC Comics these days.
Which could have been done in a separate issue.
Yeah, and they hook up with this weird sorcerer called Deimos, who is another thing I guess longtime DC readers would go, oh my god, oh my god. To me, it just went, why does this guy look like a character from Masters of the Universe?
Yeah. It's like, this guy's obviously evil.
Yeah,
right? And like, they should be able to just cast detect evil on him.
Right, and the woman putting away characters, time-traveling characters, in some kind of bizarre bubble had no weight to it, because I didn't know what that was
going on,
no
necessarily about.
For anyone or for anything.
If it wasn't for the slight dialogue about time travel, I would have no clue whatsoever as to what's going on. The only character I recognized in there was the Monarch.
The Monarch.
Not Monarch. That one. That would have been much more entertaining.
That would have been more entertaining.
You know, the scene where Thomas Wayne is fighting the various Batman villains from the Earth or the city he just left was kind of cool, except it was too short.
Yeah, didn't that last like just a couple panels?
About 5 pages was all that took.
Yeah.
And I mean, that could have been that's another moment that could have been defining in this book. In issue 3, you had a 60-year-old who's run out of the drugs that keep him vital as Batman, taking on Professor Pig. There's a guy with a crown I don't recognize, the Riddler. the guy running the Court of Owls, the Flamingo. God, what's his name?
Supposed to be Katana.
No, there was no Katana in this fight. There was Zaz,
Ace?
Victor Zaz. Victor Zaz. It looked like an ace there, and a couple others. That could have been a long fight, showing how much he was willing to, or how far he was willing to go before eventually dying, which you could tell was coming by the way the characters were talking in the first couple issues. Instead, just a couple panels in, all of a sudden he's wrapped up, he pulls out a grenade, hits the trigger, and dies.
The thing is, if we actually managed to extend that scene, and what made it so just heartbreaking is the scene afterwards where Joker comes in.
It wouldn't have just added to the heartbreak, but it also would have added to the legend of the Thomas Wayne Batman, frankly, to see how his last stand occurred. But instead, it was so rushed. It didn't have any gravity.
Puff and a bang. That was it.
Yeah. And then the Joker showing up in the aftermath and shooting Dick Grayson and paralyzing him was another moment that could have been, oh my God. And, you could have had a couple pages worth of dialogue of the Joker just taunting him. Instead, you got 2 before his neck is broken. By Telos, for some reason.
Yeah, no, this is where I started getting really confused. Like, what is his motivation? What
it seemed
does
like
he
you were
want?
making an allusion to Telos being his son or something, which was very weird.
I can't tell where it's going, and in a lot of cases, when the story is good, that's a good thing when it keeps you guessing. But when you're completely perplexed, it's not helpful. So Telos cares for Dick Grayson in the 4th issue, wraps him up in this weird metal that gives him the ability to walk.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, he's got to be his son or something like that.
He keeps talking about the cities going through their trials and everything else is downloads, though. That's really bizarre dialogue for a character who's supposed to be a living planet.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the issue breaks into Demos and the heroes of Earth 2 getting to his home city, which is somehow underground, and nobody's explained how that occurred either. And then fighting their way into the castle of the Warlord, which is supposed to be the beneficial king, which you can see coming a mile away if you read the story, but of course, the heroes have no hindsight or ability to detect evil or any real moral compass, it seems.
Oh, boy.
And Dick Grayson in the scenes where he's talking with Telos about all the cities fighting each other is doing a shitty job trying to convince him to stop it.
He's just saying stop it over and over. He's not really giving him a compelling reason to do so.
Yeah. Issue 4 actually had a couple ooh-ooh moments, but very fleeting as I saw the characters of Gen 13 fighting Steel. That was my childhood. You didn't notice that?
Must have overlooked that.
Yeah, I think it was issue 4, page 8. There's a scene where you see the back of Steel, and right in front of him are the characters of Gen 13 getting ready to hit him in the face.
Page 8?
It's a double-page spread, which there are a lot of in this issue. It's one of the scenes where Telos and Grayson are talking. They're overviewing a bunch of worlds. Okay, anyway, as things go along, they stretch out the scene where, of course, one of the characters finds out that Deimos is a bad guy. Spoilers. He's trying to steal the power of the time travelers for himself for reasons that are still mysterious until he talks to Brainiac, who appears to be locked in a giant version of one of Mr. Terrific's spheres?
Okay, I missed that part, or didn't understand it. What?
The last page of issue 4, you see Deimos talking to Brainiac. I don't know if it's through the sphere or if they're actually accessing a sphere he's in, but the whole thing has a giant T on it. That's one of Mr. Terrific's spheres. How did that get down here?
Guess we'll find out in the next issue.
That's as far as I read, and I'm a completionist, which means I'm probably going to finish the story. I will say, though, I'm not enjoying this.
I am intrigued enough to continue. Not as a completionist, but, I am a bit curious. Again, my problem is plot and the trigger for all this maybe might we might discover it in the next 4. But another thing that really hurts me is some of the dialogue choices.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that has to do with the difference in philosophies between DC and Marvel. You know, Marvel tends to focus on their characters being people, regardless of power level, whereas DC focuses on them being the things people look up to for different reasons.
Yeah, they're paragons of virtue rather than...
Not even paragons of virtue. They're the angry, like, pantheon of Greek gods standing in the heavens in judgment over human beings.
Yeah, fair enough. That makes sense.
The choice of Earth 2 characters to play the stars, I appreciate that more because I'm tired of seeing Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent solve everything that goes on in DC.
Yeah, but for a noob, it's very disorienting.
I totally appreciate that.
They're similar enough. There's Superman, Green Lantern, the Flash, and their Batman are different characters, but similar enough.
Yeah, you notice though.
You
notice though how they have to take careful steps to keep things from becoming a cliche. Because there's no yellow sun, that means the Earth 2 Superman is losing powers, so he can't just punch his way to the solution like most of them could. Yet there's still that dialogue where one of them says, things are going to be okay because we've got a Superman. It's like, oh, frick, man. That shouldn't be how you know things are going to be okay. Look, we've got a Kryptonian. Everything's fine. I know there's people listening to this just saying, well, that's because you're a Marvel fan. I just want good comics. I read Green Lantern for years. I read Superman during the 90s period where he turned electric. I found that entertaining, frankly. I've read Batman in phases. The new Aquaman, really dig it. I seriously do. But
I read Robin, the Tim Drake Robin back in the, 90s?
Yeah, but this is meant for people who have been reading DC Comics for, I don't want to say longer than I have, but definitely more in depth than I have, because you're alluding to things that are just mystifying me, and that is frustrating. There needs to be a better expositionary device or lead-in to explain how they got here, why Earth 2 is destroyed, what the frick makes Telos important, because none of that is making any sense here.
Agreed. I didn't like it right off the bat.
Yeah.
It was just too confusing.
I appreciate that. That scene where there's an Earth or a universe collapsing and an Earth dying, and it just didn't... I didn't have enough context to figure out why that was important. And there really should have been something else to fall back to lead you in. And I guess I'm the most frustrated because I was hoping that Convergence, being an event that rewrote DC's history again, would be a good point for me to jump in. It's actually a worse point to jump in because now, instead of one DC history I have to know, a recent DC history, post-Flashpoint even, I now have to know DC history going all the way back to 1986 to make sense of this? You're hurting my head, man. And I've been a comic book reader for over 3 decades now, and for me to be in pain, I can only imagine what it'd be for someone like V who reads comic books tangentially, or even worse, for people who are looking for themselves to get into comic books, period.
Agreed.
How are they going to make heads or tails of this?
At least they could have done something like they did for that one series we did, which was give, a dossier of each of the characters and what they'd done, their powers.
Yeah, it really would have been helpful to have at least one bio breakdown of one main character per issue.
Yeah.
And they don't have a lot of main characters, so there's room for that. Maybe that's why I like Dick Grayson as more as one of the characters in this one, because they at least gave
us a backstory.
Yeah, they gave us that 4 or 5 pages of what things were like for him before everything went to utter hell.
You know what? I think a little order of operations is another thing that kind of bugged the hell out of me, because that first issue was just boom, here they are, they don't know what's going on, and we get exposition of what just happened to them. It's and then issue 2 starts off with what just happened to them.
Well, I have trouble recommending this to anyone. I can't recommend it to new comic book readers because it requires more history than I know off the top of my head. I can't recommend it to long-term DC readers because, frankly, I can't guarantee that they know enough about the history of DC to make anything going on here important. I don't have a good basis to hand this off to anybody with. Because I still need to sit down and understand what in the frick I'm reading, who's involved in it, and where it's going.
I think...
What?
I think they were just trying to go for something that was a lot more epic and ended up just being confusing.
The idea they have here is epic. They have a poor catalyst that triggered this event, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, again, I haven't read the thing in its entirety yet. It might get explained later, but right now, I'm lost.
Agreed.
You know what? You could almost say it's the Fantastic Four of comic books. It started out with a really solid idea, but somebody started monkeying with it, and now nobody knows where it's going. DC fans, I really, really wish this was better reviewed than it was. I've been checking reviews across websites of the first 4 issues after I started reading it, and I really can't find much better news out there. I found a lot of reviewers that were DC fans that found this frustrating. So
did they have a similar complaint as us?
They had similar complaints about the story beats, how they wasted an opportunity between Batman and Batman, and how it really could have been helped with a little more explanation as to who characters were. It even seemed like long-term reviewers were a little lost as what they were staring at.
Oh, wow. Really?
It did seem to the reviews did seem to pick up towards the second half, but it was still not something that anybody seemed to be excited in.
Yeah, trudging through a weak first half doesn't help.
No. You know what? I actually got an email for next week.
What's that?
I got an email of a suggestion that we should look into the Reborn Valiant comics. Valiant was big in the 90s. The company was collapsed and bought out, and in the last couple of years, people have been restarting their series. So somebody suggested that we look into a comic of either Bloodshot, Ninjak, or Exo Manowar.
I have not heard of any of those things.
I remember Manowar come up in our comic discussion.
It's come up in news before,
news.
But we haven't sat down and read it, so I don't know. First 4 issues of Exo Manowar. We'll check it out.
All right.
See if it works.
Sure,
see if it makes it. Yeah. See if it makes us cry less. You know, there's been some crying this show between reading Convergence and that Learn to Fly video. There has been some crying today.
Mostly for me.
You don't know that men cry on the
Reliving the
inside.
cringeworthy moments in comic book movies.
Yeah, men cry on the inside. V.
Okay.
So next week will be the first, we'll say 3 issues of Exo Manowar. We'll get our feet wet and see if it's something we feel like continuing. So thank you for tuning in. Sorry about the gripe fest towards the end, but God, it is hard to find humor in this. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. I am Jeremy.
I'm going to scrub this from my memory.
Your name? Okay, start over because we're going to do this properly, you dickheaded motherfucker. I invite you to roll with us again next week because the grumbly dude messed up the ending. Thank you very much. I am Jeremy.
Jesse.
And V.
Don't jerk and drive. Enjoy yourselves.
Speaking of cringeworthy moments.
What? I'm not the one that needed to clear the sand out of the old vag there, man.